All right, all right, all right. What's going on? Welcome to Sunday's early edition of Sister Wives in Review. All right. Can everybody hear me? Let's get a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. A 2 if you guys are having trouble with the audio. You can see me. Everything's cool. Give me a 1 in the chat just so I'm on board. What's going on? Okay, Disney Duchess, I see you. Also saw some other folks said hi to me. Want to say hi to everybody. Make sure everything is cool. Cool, Kimberly. Thank you for hitting that 1. All right. All right. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. All right. Just make sure you guys hit the like on your way in. You can hit the like at any time. You don't have to wait. Perfect. Let's see if this works. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Thank you. All right. Everything is working. I'm a little surprised, and to be honest with you, I'm a little scared. Because when things go too good, usually that's when things go horribly wrong. So we're going to keep it all the way in stack. Just so everybody knows, I'm trying to figure a way to get some kind of plug-in, a widget or whatever, that I can put the chats on the screen. Hopefully everybody can dig that, so that way you don't have to, go back and forth or whatever. And you can, keep looking at my pretty face. All right, all right. So good afternoon, everybody. I understand some folks will probably be watching a football game today, which is understandable. I get it. I get it. I know I'm competing a little bit. I wanted to do this video yesterday, but I wasn't able to organize some of the clips that I wanted to pull together because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you know that James brings those. That's right. I bring them receipts. So when I make opinions or I start talking about stuff, I don't really like to talk too far out of school. Like occasionally I will say things that might be a little speculative because we're just kind of piecing things together almost like a like a detective or whatever. So as I'm listening to the sister wives talk, and more importantly I'm listening to what Cody says, and even more importantly I'm listening to what they don't say, a lot of times it kind of hits that point where it's gotcha ass, I see what was going on, I know what you doing, I know what you up to, and we're gonna expose it. We're gonna drag it into the light, as they always say. All right, sarcasm for fun in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up? Lizzie B, hold it down. I see a lot of the folks who joined me for a lot of the stuff. We had an interesting talk on Friday. I'm gonna start rolling out 90 Day Fiance Fridays, where I'm going to talk about 90 Day Fiance. Sometimes, like in the last time I did the live, we kind of rolled into a little bit of the whole sister wives debacle. So we had some of that going on too, just to keep it tight, keep it tight. So I'm going to try to spread it out because there's so many things that we could talk about from other shows. Like Sister Wives is very interesting because it's a long-term show, so we have a lot of the backing, like a backing history, the background, so we can talk about things from a more educated perspective. But like the first blush of relationships and how those relationships happen, the interpersonal dynamics of those relationships, sometimes the red flags that you would see, like the flags that maybe Christine, Mary, and Janelle could have seen from Cody before they got started, are present in some of the other shows. So that's why I like to review some of those, or at least talk about some of those, because it gives us a little different issues, as well as it opens the door for more of a variety of problems. Because as you get, more diverse in your people in the cast, then you get diversity in the issues and challenges that they face in their relationships. All right. Okay. I see. Welcome, Miss James. I'm glad you made it too. Okay. Sarcasm for fun up in New York, New York. Hold it down. Sign a letter on the videos. What? James, you better high pitch your videos and put a blocking sign or letter on the videos. He took down my last live, really? Thank you, Lizzie B. I'll check into that. I wonder why. I didn't think I did anything too crazy on a live. Yeah, wow. That kind of hurts my heart a little bit. They took it down. All right, sarcasm for fun. Thank you for holding it down for me. Yes, please hit that like button and the subscribe if you're not subscribed. But let's get into it. I'm only going to hold you guys for a couple hours because, again, tonight we're going to do the after party for the sister wives, so we can do the first blush on the foolishness that we see, fresh foolishness that we're going to see tonight. And I'm sure it's going to be crazy. C's live title, for what? And who will be stupid enough to vote for Lord Ramen Head? KM Gilbert, so thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, I know. And that's part of the thing. We'll get right into it. Let's get it. All right, because I know why you guys are here, and I don't want to hold you up. And I know some of you got football games to watch, and you're trying to do both, and I appreciate that. So let's get into it. Oh, it's pronounced like, oh, okay. Lame's the cat food. Im's the cat food. The J is silent in my name. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're not being shady at all. Correct me. That's fine. You know, I learn something every day. All right. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate that. I'm trying to hold it together. Going to the gym, banging up my body. That gym is unforgivable. You know, as crazy as it is at this point, at this stage of my life, when I go to the gym, I feel 100%. I go in, I feel strong, I feel powerful. Come out, I feel like I got hit by a bus. Wake up in the morning, I feel like I just been in a car accident. It's insane. But let's get to talking about, as K.M. Gilbertson called him, Lord Ramen Head. All right, and what was he running for office for? Now, just to give a little background on all the foolishness, I got to set up my, let me dial in my clips, because like I said, I'm bringing the clips with me, and I'm bringing the receipts. Hello. When we start talking about, oh, this is live, baby, this is always live. This is live. I can see you. When we start talking about the history of Cody, I think it's important for us to recognize that I think Cody was always a man of ambition. Cody started out a lot of his relationships always trying to seek the approval of other people. This is seen with his relationship with Brett. I should have pulled down pictures. Brett, his one friend that came to his wedding, and he was crying that he had to leave early, and oh God, and he jumped off the building with him. That guy, it was important for him to be recognized by his friend Brett as this man's man, this alpha male. And this is one of the conversations where he was talking about how he's a leader, and, you know, I just led, and the wives, they didn't want to go. Janelle didn't want to go because she got promoted at her job, and she was actually making good money, probably more money than me. So I decided that, you know what, we're going to move, so she has to quit that job. And she has to be more reliant on me because I'm the leader and I'm the alpha male. So what I did was I moved. This is what Cody said. I moved and I led. And then eventually she followed. Janelle, to her credit or discredit, she was working a good job. She was making good money. Cody left. She said she was missing him. She decided that she was going to go ahead and leave her position and follow Cody. I wonder how her life would have turned out if she would have stayed where she was. You know what I mean? She might have been happier. Who knows? So, you know, when it comes to that, that's where it was. And then as you watch it, like layer after layer, there's always been opportunities where everything Cody has done has always been for somebody's approval. Even as mentioned on the thumbnail I had, when he was talking to the guys from Mormonism Live and he was doing that interview, one of the things he said, good morning, everybody. One of the things he said was, you know, I was like the good at polygamist. You know, I felt like I was winning. And, I was winning so much with my relationships, I got myself a diesel jean model, which is something that he didn't have to say. I mean, maybe she was in a Walmart or some kind of store, and they were like, yeah, we need you to wear the pants. And she said, I'll pick the diesel jeans. And then she got to wear the diesel jeans. Like, I can see that, but I don't see her being hired with an agent and a casting call and then being called repeatedly to be an official diesel jean model. Maybe she did like one ad where she was wearing the stuff in like a Macy's catalog or whatever, but that doesn't make you a diesel jean model. They would have their own, like you would have an agent, you would have contracts, you would have all that. And plus you would have documents and pictures and things that are circulating throughout the internet. Like, so it's kind of hard for me to believe that not only was she not a diesel jean model, but certainly the implication of, her retiring or her, former diesel jean model implies that she had multiple jobs with that company. And I don't necessarily believe that. But the whole reason why he brought up the importance of him saying that she was a diesel jean model and all these other people wanted her was a way for him to brag and hold himself out for being better than he is. Everything he's done so far has been to try to establish himself as something that he is not. And it's very unsettling. And I think that that's where some folks kind of have that uneasy feeling when they watch Kody on screen, because they never really feel like he's being himself. He's always pretending to be somebody else. When he talked about that, he moved to the cul-de-sac. Remember, they all left, supposedly left Utah in the dead of night because they were running from the police. And I say again, that's not how that shit works. If the police and the district attorney have enough evidence to arrest you, they go down and talk to the judge. And it doesn't matter. They talk to the judge about getting an arrest warrant. And it doesn't matter if you're in the state or not. When the judge swears out the arrest warrant, there is now an active warrant out for your arrest. And that's if you're in Utah, you go to Las Vegas, you jump on a shuttle, and you fly to the moon. There's still going to be an active arrest warrant for you. If you ever bring your ass back to Utah and you get pulled over at a stoplight, that warrant going to pop up and they're going to arrest you on the spot. That's how that works. So it's kind of insulting either from the Brown family or TLC that they keep rolling out this narrative that the Utah district attorney was going to prosecute them and put them all in jail and they had to run away in the dead of night. It's ridiculous. So with that being said, when they went to Vegas and he was able to organize to get that cul-de-sac, one of the key things he said was, we're going to organize these houses on the cul-de-sac. We're going to call it the Polig Row or the Polig Compound. And when other people in our church come to Vegas on vacation, whatever the case may be, they can essentially stay with us. And then on Sunday, they can come to our services because Kody was running services from his homes in each one of the houses on Sundays. I think it was in Mary's house majority of the time, at least that's where they filmed. And that by definition would have made him the de facto head of the Las Vegas branch of the AUB. He would have essentially started his own church. And I think that was important to him. When you look at Christine, him marrying Christine, this woman that he thought was so disgusting and so nasty, that, he's sitting there, you go out with her, you're out with her all day, and she goes into the gas station, buys herself some nachos, sits in your truck, eats some nachos. Thank you, Ricka Carlisle. Appreciate that. With the $2.99 pound super chat. I appreciate that. But she goes in there and gets the nachos, and you sitting there disgusted that she eating the nachos. Let me tell you something, bro. There's a lot of women who, if you take them out and you have them out of the house for hours, driving in a car, and they have to go into a gas station to get food, not only are they not coming out offering you any, let's just put it this way. The nachos is not going to be the only thing you not getting. The nachos is not going to be the only thing that night you not getting. So you can wrap that up. You know, you don't even offer her food. You don't even go in and buy her nachos for her. And then you're disgusted that the way she's eating them. She goes in there and gets her own nachos. She's eating them. And you're so disgusted, but you marry her anyway. And this is after you've only known her for a few months. I think they said that he knew her they courted for like 2 months. They knew each other for years, but they only courted for like 2 months. Oh, thank you, Lizzie B. Hit that like button. That's right. Michelle Woods with the $5 super chat. Cody never stops boasting about himself when he's on camera. He loves to hear about himself talk. Cody himself is the actual love of his life. This is true. He loves the man in the mirror. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Cody loves the man in the mirror. And what's sad is, I think on the surface, Cody loves the man in the mirror for the man that he pretends to be. Cody doesn't love himself because he can't stand himself. A lot of the disagreements he has with the other wives and the other people is based on the fact that Cody isn't comfortable with himself. And this is one of the things that I would watch out for and always warn my kids about is when you get involved with people, whether friends, romance, professionalism, or whatever, professionally or whatever, that you have to watch people who don't really like themselves and don't really have a high value of themselves. Because if they don't value themselves and they know themselves, then you have to be careful of them, because if they don't like themselves, they know them better than you know them. So obviously they know something about themselves that they're not comfortable with. And in Cody's case, maybe it's the relationship he had with his dad, which is ironic because of the relationship he tries to have with his kids. And, you know, again, before you start having kids, you want to make sure you're taking care of your own issues and your own problems so that you don't pass them on to your kids. And, you know, you basically will become the person who brutalized you when you were a child. You'll become that person. But to the point of Christine, when he married Christine, not because he was died hopelessly and galefully in love with Christine. I think that genuinely he was attracted to Christine because Christine opened a door for him to enter into the church and become what he thought was an easy path to leadership within the church. He could become a big deal just by who he married. There's a word for that. What was it again? It was it's called hypergamy. What he tries to say about women. The women are hypergamous. Yes, what you did was hypergamy. That's hypergamy, because you tried to elevate your social status based on the relative status of somebody who you considered to be of a higher social status. So you started to date them because you wanted to elevate yourself, Cody. That's hypergamous. Welcome to the club, bruh. And it's not just something that you can use to criticize women. Lizzie Bates dealing with his ass all the time. That's true. Oui. She was in her IMDb says that she was. Oh wow. I used to. Okay, see, you putting this stuff together. Thank you. Put a little context to it. We just said that her IMDb used to say she was on an old show called Just Shoot Me. Okay, I remember the show, and I looked it up. It was about a fashion magazine, and she was on a poster of a cover in the background. Oh, wow. Okay. That makes it worse, to be honest with you. I was a diesel jean model. And I played one on TV. That's like me saying I was a doctor because I played one on TV. I'm a lawyer because I played a lawyer on TV. No, you weren't. You're an actor who played a lawyer on TV. Yeah, YouTube is my time machine. Exactly. I laughed out loud when he said it. I knew, to be honest with you, I knew Cody was going to run for office. And let me just finish the wrap up. So when Christine was introduced as a prospective person to Cody, that was an easy way for him, in his mind, I think, for him to get elevated in the church by marrying into the royalty of the church. It didn't work out like he planned because, let's be honest, like these churches don't really value the accreditation of women. And so Cody would have had to bring more to the table than, hey, look who I married. in order, and these people have so many kids anyway that it's not really a thing of like, this is my one only heir to the throne. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this dude got like 30 kids or 100 grandkids or whatever. So he don't give a damn about who she married. Okay. Marilyn Lopez, what's up? She said she joined right after leaving Mass. I know. I gotta call my dad. He was in Mass earlier. Sitting in pizzeria. Oh man, I want some pizza. Oh, just a photo, not a speaking role. The Bronze Empress said that Robyn didn't even get to talk. She didn't even get the one line out. Can I take your order? Oh, wow. Okay, so, hey, Miss Lopez. Marilyn Lopez, what's up? Just real quick, so as we move through that, the one thing that really struck me when you see a lot of it and where a lot of this comes from, sarcasm for fun with the $1.99 super chat. She gonna be a Summer's Eve box model. Oh, wow. Summer's Eve. Not even a pencil box. You just... Oh, wow. Just walk around with the fresh white robes on. Be awesome. Lori Kittle... It's not as crazy as you think. To get to be a background in a TV show, just a little hint of production, because I did a little work in on TV and movies and stuff. I don't want to be a dick about it, but in order for you to, when they're doing those kind of backgrounds, like sometimes you'll be watching, say, SWAT, and they'll say this guy was criminal Joe Blow, or this person got murdered on Law and Order, and they have a picture. What they do is they do a casting call, and they'll pull up headshots, and depending on the headshots they may put you, they'll like the picture that you provide, and then they can call you in, or they can do like a photo shoot thing for you. You get hired, then they just take your pictures at some random location, organized location, and then they just, they can make it into whatever they want to make it. So it's not really a thing of, realistically, they may lean towards you if you're a famous model, but if you are somebody of note, like if you had a couple records, or you're somebody who is popular around a group and they want to attract those people, which is why they would hire you, then your role in most cases would be a lot bigger than just a picture in the background. It would be a speaking role. And you would probably either get a co-starring credit or a guest star credit for those types of roles. So that what she did sounds more like extra work. Like, and no shade on extra work. I mean, it is what it is. Like, God bless them. Being an extra, if you've ever seen a movie, the people who are in the background of that scene, those folks work. They work. It's a hard day. For extras, it's a hard day. Because if you are co-starring, you're guest starring, you're starring, then you will have a trailer. You'll have, your chairs and stuff organized. You'll have your own separate location where you guys rest at. Typically, you're only on set when you're actually filming. Bigger productions, they'll have stand-ins for you. People who will, when they're setting the cameras and the mics and stuff up, they'll have people come in and sit in the area. Not to get too far afield, I'm sorry. But to get back to the issue. So when we talk about Kody, you say, well, why did Kody think that he could possibly run for these bigger offices and somebody would even think about voting for this dude? What does he bring to the table? This is what one of the Manosphere guys always like to say. What do these women bring to the table? Well, Kody, in a political realm, what do you bring to the table? And I think that he best expressed it in the tell-all for season 17 when he said this.
Oh, I was a polygamist. It's all ego, baby.
I love how they sit there and they staring at each other, and even she's like, "What?" It's all ego, baby. What? Wrong answer, player. Wrong damn answer. It's not about your ego. Your ego allows you to think that you're enough for 4, 5, 10 women. That's your ego. But that same ego makes him think that if all these people have to do is know I'm out here and I'm willing to run, and they're going to vote for me because I'm the bee's knees, I'm the center of the universe, I'm everything that matters and everything that's right in the world. And that's the approach that they try to take for a lot of these guys. And in Cody's particular position, Kody does this thing where he pretends as though, because he was on the show, and I won't even say pretend, he genuinely believes, because he's on the show and the show itself is popular, that he's the reason why the show is popular. Because in his mind, because so much of his relationships circle around him, he thinks that everybody is watching this show to find out what's going on with him. How does this man deal with 4 women? That's what he thinks the show is about. What the show is really about is how do these 4 women navigate the realm of dealing with one another while being married to the same man. It's a slight difference, and it sounds like it's the same, but it's completely different, as many of you understand. This, I think that ultimately, when you first started this show, when he first got in negotiations for this show, he genuinely pitched this show as him and Robyn's love story. He and Robyn thought that they were going to be the stars of this show, and OG3 were merely going to play the background. Unfortunately, so many of the people who watched the show, so many of the fans, so many of the people who tuned in week after week to watch this show identified and liked the OG3, and they bonded with them, and that's what pushed this show into superstardom. That's what pushed the ratings. That's what made this show a success, because of those 3 women. And ultimately, I think that part of the reason why there's such disdain and dislike on Cody's behalf, as well as on Robyn's behalf for these other 3 women, is because of the popularity that they enjoy by being on the show. Because to them, these women are stealing their spotlight. And the one thing you don't want to do, I know we throw the word narcissist around, but if I am so if you guys give me leave to say that for somebody who I believe has narcissistic tendencies, the one thing that you can't do is take the shine or the spotlight away from somebody with that type of attitude. Because when they look at it, you're taking something important from them. You're taking their identity. I'm the star. You're not the star. I'm the star. You're my background. I'm not your background. And in Cody's case, everything that's been happening on this show, every time he does something, he sits there and tries to pontificate and tell people how he's such a smart man and he's a thought leader and he's deciding what's going on in the world and everybody must listen to him because he's the ultimate patriarch and leader. And then everybody turns around and says, yeah, you're kind of a jackass and she's right. And that kills him. That kills him. Okay, somebody's the wrong player. I'm wrong. That's fine. Not everybody's going to agree. Carrie says, Kody is so narcissistic, it's unbelievable. Hey, Carrie, what's going on? And you're absolutely right. This guy, I mean, ultimately, when I say narcissism, and again, I'll get into the clips in a moment, but when I say narcissism, I want to be very clear. When it comes to narcissism and dealing with narcissists, my suggestion is always look at the fact that at minimum, this person is an asshole. And for me, if you're an asshole, I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to tolerate you. So I don't put a lot of time, energy, and effort into people like that. So I don't stick around for the diagnosis. You know what I mean? It's that really goes back to the whole point of, like, if you were standing in a park or you stand in the lobby of a building and then everybody come, like you see a herd of people come busting out of the elevator and everybody running. people tripping and falling and stumbling, and people screaming and hollering, ah, oh God, oh God. I don't think to myself, I wonder what's going over there. You know what I think?
Run.
That's right. And I get my they run in slow motion. Out my way. Make room for the living, suckers. You know what I mean? I'm not sticking around and trying to figure that out. We can talk about it when everybody stop running. What was we running for? What happened? That's where I'm at. I'm not trying to figure it out at the moment. And so when you're in these types of relationships, you ain't got to figure out whether the person's a narcissist or what the exact, sickness or affliction that they suffer from. There's something wrong with them. They're not for you. Be out. Okay. Kelly Pritchard in the house. Made another one. Thank you for coming. Oh, make sure you guys hit that like button and all that good stuff. Yeah, everyone has narcissistic tendencies. Some are full-blown narcissists. This is very true. I mean, you should, and this is the weird part about it, because everybody, in my opinion, everybody should love themselves. Like, you should have a healthy dose of self-love and self-affection for yourself. Like, clearly. And in order for you to function in this world, you do have to look out for yourself, and you do have to protect yourself. But it's when it starts to go too far that it becomes problematic. Now, when we start talking about Cody and running for office, because that's why we all here, Cody running for office, I think that there's something that first kind of gave me that twinge where I said, this dude is going to try to run for office. Because one, he thinks that he is the bee's knees. Like, this dude think he is it. What they used to say back in the day, he is all that and a bag of chips. Okay? He thinks he's the one. So when Cody is, the ironic part in dealing with people like Cody, because I've known people like him, Cody is essentially a dream thief in addition to everything else that he has going on. And what do I mean by dream thief? He's a guy who, if you start doing arts and crafts and say you become really good at arranging flowers, and this becomes your passion and you're really excited about doing it, Cody will come into your situation, see how excited you are about doing flowers. All of a sudden, Cody's a master of flowers and he's excited about flowers. And it's all he ever wanted to do all his life. If Cody meets an actor, same thing. All of a sudden, all my life, all I ever wanted to do was be an actor. I wanted to act to Shakespeare. This is what I always had a calling to do. Singer. This dude is out there doing karaoke, strumming guitars. And there's always guitars around. You ever notice that in Brown families? There's always like 3-4 guitars around. I wonder who plays and what they play and how good they are. But Cody would be the next, Kenny Rogers or whatever. Like, it's just, it depends on who he's standing with. When he was dealing with the folks in Las Vegas, he went out to Las Vegas, he watched these houses get, the land get developed, the houses get built. All of a sudden, Cody thought he was a land developer. And he thought he was going, hey, I could just buy some land out in Arizona. I don't need to have pads, I don't need to have infrastructure, utilities, none of that stuff hooked up because I'll develop it myself. How hard could it be? When he came to Las Vegas and all of a sudden he was going to be a real estate agent. It was because Janelle and Christine were interested in doing it. They talked to somebody who was a real estate agent. Now all of a sudden Cody knows everything about real estate and that's his passion. And he's a master of real estate. Right? And he was a master of real estate until he realized that shit was hard. You ain't got to show up every day? What do you mean? I got to go to work? Myself? I'll just send my wives in there to do it. I mean, that's basically where Cody was. So you always had that. But when I saw in, was it season 12? There was a family who came on. And this family was led by a gentleman by the name of Joe Darger. And Joe Darger, oh, it's over here. Joe Darger, this is his family with his 3 wives. He's married to 2 twins. Lovely, lovely ladies. He's a good looking guy. The wives are good looking. He was running for office. And Joe Darger was the spearhead for a lot of what was going on in Utah as far as trying to legalize polygamy. And because Joe Darger was trying to push this legalization of polygamy as hard as he was, and he was organizing, he was having meetings, Joe Darger was the center of attention. He was the one that they were talking about as far as polygamy. This started to step on Cody's toes a little bit, because when Cody signed up to do the TLC polygamy propaganda program, which is Sister Wives, he thought to himself that I am going to be the spokesperson of polygamy. And him being the big-headed doofus that he is, he thought that he could come right in and take over for Joe Darger and steal the spotlight from him. He thought he could just walk in and he could, step right into a spot. And Cody, Cody being Cody, and again, these dream thieves, you got to watch them. Because, the family is creepy. It is a little creepy. Joe Darger got some shit with him. Like, you gotta watch them. Like I said, they're very attractive people. Joe Darger and his wives, they're attractive people. And they're at one point, they were actually in talks with TLC to do the show. But TLC, I think, looking at Joe Darger versus the Brown family, realized that the Brown family had a lot more chinks in their armor. And they weren't as together as they appeared. Like, they would appear to be together long enough to get people tied into the show, and then that family would just disintegrate. Because they talked to Cody, and they realized that Cody was that one. So when Joe Darger, he was talking to Joe Darger, Joe was having these meetings, and Cody, they tried to sue the state of Utah because they were like, they can't prosecute us. And essentially, for a little bit, the courts had ruled in the Brown family's favor. And then they eventually threw the case out because the case didn't have standing, because the Brown family was no longer impacted by the laws of Utah because they didn't live in Utah. Whereas Joe Darger, he never moved from Utah. In fact, he was the one who challenged Utah on the ground in Utah, saying, if you want to come and arrest me for polygamy, and we'll settle it in the courts. And I dare you to arrest me. And Joe Darger, there was a measure that was put forward that was going to basically make polygamous felons. And Joe Darger was talking about having this huge rally where he was going to call all the polygamists together, and they were going to march on the Capitol down there in Utah, and they were going to set them straight. And Cody, being Cody, wanted to step in to Joe Darger's business and wanted to step in so that he could, make himself present, and then hopefully, I think in Cody's mind, take over the movement, because Joe Darger was putting all the wheels and putting this movement together, and then Cody was just going to sweep in and then take it from him. And I agree with that, Ames. I think that Cody was so jealous of Joe Darger, because Joe Darger had everything. Like, he was able to kiss his wives and smooch and pooch with his wives, and even the sister wives were talking like, these chicks, they go to the gym together, they work out, and they die together. There's no reason to be jealous. Your relationship is your relationship, his relationship, his relationship. Sometimes when you look at relationships that look perfect on the outside, them relationships are hell. When you behind closed doors, them relationships turn to hell. Jules Cheryl said, 499 Super Chat, thank you so much for that. Say, you say my brain cells by doing the critical thinking. When this show, if I was a younger man, I'd probably be an alcoholic trying to watch this show, because every time something stupid happens, like, I need a drink. This is ridiculous. These people are crazy. This dude is insane, especially when Cody started dealing with them kids. He burns me up every time. Like, I think he's shaving years off my life, maybe. I don't know. He's killing me. But yeah, when he was dealing with Joe Darger, he was trying to always convince, step in and, oh, Joe, I'm here to support you. But he was going to betray Joe Darger. He was going to take his spot as best he could. And there was a conversation that the sister wives were sitting over at Christine's house, and they had Joe Darger on the phone. We got to call Joe to find out what's going on with this, because we got to be a part of it. And this is what they had to say.
Make it so that we can run for office, Joe. Make it so that polygamists can be hold office.
Make it so we can run for office, Joe. Like Joe had a power. Hey, yeah, I want to make it so the polygamists can run for office. If he could do that, if he had that kind of authority and that kind of power, he would have been able to just outlaw whatever he wanted to outlaw and shape the government and the policy and politics the way he wanted to do it. But he couldn't. And when he was saying, like, make it so we're able to run for office, what he was looking at was the popularity that Joe Darger was experiencing, because he had so many polygamists who were reaching out to him and responding to him, and he seemed to be more the centralized person that they were looking towards. And Cody was jealous of that because, again, Joe Darger was taking Cody's spot. He was taking Cody's position. The whole reason why he got involved with this damn show was so that he could be that person. And here Joe Darger is, doing the work, organizing, making phone calls, having meetings, talking to people, doing everything he can. And when he's talking to Cody, Cody is looking at it and saying, well, I'm the one that's on the TV show. I'm the one that everybody knows. I'm the one that everybody loves. So if Joe Darger can do it, I can definitely do it. Plus, did I mention he might have 3 attractive wives, but I'm married to a former Diesel G model. And she had other guys that she was talking to. So you're proud of the fact that she was entertaining other dudes. That's a point of bragging for you. I got it though. Your chick chose me. So you had all that going on. And so as that was happening, Joe was organizing, he was putting things together, and Cody was trying to imprint himself onto this meeting and move into this whole movement so that he could try to take this movement over and usurp it, and he could run for office. And then some people say, James, you kind of, that's a big stretch. I don't know about that, James. Y'all must not know. James be bringing them receipts, so I do have receipts for that. Now, after he got finished talking to Joe Darger, and he kept pleading with Joe Darger about all the things that he wanted Joe Darger to do to help polygamy and how he could be involved and try to say things so that he could put himself in the forefront of the movement because it sounds good. Joe Darger got off the phone with him, but Cody wasn't done yet. So he had to go back and he had to tell his wives or talk to his wives while the cameras were present to let them know that he was serious and what his policies were going to be. Let's take a listen.
I am aching in my heart for my freedom. I'm aching for my liberty. We have to get the legislature there to understand that polygamists are humans. We're not all pedophiles and perverts and abusers and welfare fraud and whatever the thing they did. They created those people because it was under the dark blanket of secrecy.
And you think he was saying all that for his wives' benefit? He was saying that for us. He was saying that so that we would feel like he was talking to us and, wow, he is amazing. He's such a force. Cody is such a force to be reckoned with. He's aching. The only thing is aching in his head because he keeps bumping it on the doorway as he's trying to walk out the room because he's overinflated. That's the only thing that's aching on him. He's a ridiculous person. He's not serious. Because we'll talk about, at the end of this, after we go through some of the clips, and we get to the other side, I want to show and demonstrate, because, I'm bringing them receipts. And when I talk about this, I don't want to just talk about Cody's side of it or his position, but I also want to talk about the dark side of what he's proposing and the actual temperament that he has towards these women that he's dealing with. Because that's all in the same show. You know what I mean? Like, if you know what you're looking at, you can see it. And I'm telling you that everything that he was saying is the one thing that they try to push on this show was that it's a pro-woman show. We love independent, strong women and who bond together as sisters, and they're powerful and they're making decisions. They're choosing to be in these relationships, and I'm aching for my freedom. He's aching for his freedom. He's not aching for the freedom of these ladies he's sitting at the table with. He doesn't want them to have independence, power, the autonomy. He doesn't want them to have control of their lives. That's not what he's fighting for. He's fighting because he's upset that he can't do something. That's the equivalent, like that's the quintessential evil of the way that this polygamous experience or institution has been carried out for so many years. I think I've said it before. I'm not inherently against polygamy or polyamory or people, doing what they want to do with whoever they want to do it with. I'm not against that. But I take issue with you taking advantage of people through an institutionalized, socialized form of control within a formulation of like a marriage or whatever the case may be, and you're shining the light on it, and you're taking control of this individual and keeping them from doing the things that they want to do, and you're constantly gaslighting them, brainwashing them, and influencing them to think that this is a normal state of affairs, and they're getting the short end of the stick. We're sitting here watching, Robyn come into the family, and because she was a super hot diesel jean model who was on television at one point, just shoot me, she was a television personality. I'm sorry, I'm an asshole for that. But she's a television personality. Then I don't have to deal with my other 3 old wives because I'm not attracted to them. They're not fun like her. I don't take these 3 women out and the guys ain't trying to talk to her and men ain't trying, she ain't attracting a bunch of other dudes. And so therefore I'm not really worried about them. Like that's not you liberating these women and upholding these women and valuing these women. You don't value any of them. And the weird part is, I don't think, and this is counterintuitive for a lot of the narrative that I pushed, even as far as Robyn is concerned, I don't think that he genuinely values Robyn. I think what he values in Robyn is the fact that in his mind, other men want her. If he got to a point where other men were repelled or disgusted or didn't pay Robyn any mind, and he actually saw that, I think Robyn would lose all value. And by her losing value, she would also lose all influence over him. If she became something that he couldn't brag on or talk about, like the quintessential trophy wife, if he couldn't do those things with Robyn, then Robyn will get replaced. So, but eating for freedom, yeah, right. Now, when we talk to Cody, you say, James, yet again, that doesn't prove that Cody was trying to be a politician, that he was going to run for office, that he was actually going to throw his hat in the ring politically. He wasn't going to become metamorphosized into like not a werewolf or or a vampire. He was going to metamorphosize and change into a political animal. Manimal, if you will. No, that doesn't prove it. But this does.
I've been going, things look just a bit janky. They're just not looking right. I've also had my sights set on moving to Utah.
Well,
what?
You said you don't want to move back in with the laws, and I don't either. I'm not interested.
But I figure if I could go and run for office there, I might be able to change the world. Or change our world.
He's gonna change the world, make it a better place for me and for you and the whole human race. No, he wasn't. He wasn't gonna do that. He would have been what so many politicians are currently. And this is part of the reason why people don't like politicians. Because they get in office and they start looking out for themselves. They try to figure out what they can do for themselves and not for their constituents. In order for you to be in office, one of the things that you should do as a politician, and I don't want to get into a whole lot of politics and this, that, and other, but just in my mind, when you run for office, your representation, you're not a leader as much as a servant. You have a servant leadership position. And what one of the things that actually sticks out to me is that the best example of him not being able to serve in that leadership servant position is his inability to do that as a leader of his family. Not the leader and the patriarch of over and lord over all these women, but a co-equal partner in these marriages with these women where he's serving his family. He's guiding his family and helping to guide his family, but at the same time, the decisions and initiatives and procedures and policies that he makes as a family member and as a father and as a husband, that those things put his family first and are put in place for the improvement and betterment of his family, his kids, and his wives. He doesn't put anybody first. When he talks about his big picture, it's a big old picture of him. You're right. I did have a picture of him like a little baby Cody on a computer, big old head, like in a picture frame. That's the big picture that we're talking about. Cody's talking about him, and he's talking about what he can get out of these relationships, what he can get out of these situations. So when he talks about he wants to be a politician, I don't think that it's not a stretch for me to think that it's going to be any different if he's a politician in a role where he's supposed to be serving the people who put him in that position. He's supposed to be serving his constituents, but he's only looking out for himself. And he'll tell his constituents, you guys need to start focusing on the big picture. But the big picture involves me paying for you to go to these $1,000 plate dinners so that you can go rub elbows with a bunch of people I could never get in a room with. The people who are actually taking advantage of me and not looking out for my best interests. But these are the people that you're going to choose to spend my tax dollars, my time, and my energy and efforts towards the government. You're going to use those things for your own improvement and your own betterment. Like the best sometimes, when we talk about it, I don't get too crazy with it. But sometimes when you try to do things, the Lord will save your life. Since it's Sunday, we'll go to church a little bit. Sometimes when you want to do certain things and it's not in your best interest, the Lord will save your life. Like I've had home gyms, like you have weights and stuff in the basement, and like when I was a kid, my dad had like a bench, and he had a weight set, little plastic, the plastic weights with the cement in it, right? We had those on old school, and you would go down the basement, and we'd lift, and you blow that bar up, and you get down there, and you be ready to do that bench press, and you can't get the bar off that little lip, like it's about like half a quarter inch. If you could just get that bar off, then you could do the exercise. And you can't get it up, the Lord just saved your life. That angel just saved your life. He said, no. He gonna cut his head clean off down here. He gonna drop this weight on his chest, not be able to get up. He down here trying to scream, but he can't get no air in his chest because the weight is crushing him. You getting saved. You're saving you from yourself. If Cody found himself in a position, because to be honest with you, and this is all speculation, in my opinion, by my speculation and way I see the way they're doing their finances, there's a very strong possibility that Cody was embezzling money from that Cody Entertainment LLC. He was misappropriating. I won't say embezzlement, because that's a crime. I think that he was misappropriating funds. He was spending money in places where he shouldn't have been spending money on things he shouldn't have been spending money on. And if you were doing that on a small scale, again, you weren't taking care of your family, you weren't being a servant leader in your family, and I think that would transfer to your political policies and how you conducted yourself as a politician and an elected official. I also think that if you were misappropriating funds in your family, there's a very strong possibility if you had a state or city bankroll that you might very well be in there misappropriating funds. And in which case, the Lord might have saved your life by not giving you that opportunity, because it's not a blessing, it's a curse. If you get something you're not ready for, you can't do. And he put you in a position, you get put into a position where you can sit there and you can start stroking checks. And you start stroking checks. Oh yeah, me and Robyn want to go on vacation, so I'm going to go ahead and write this check. Or me and Robyn want to go to the Bahamas, so we're going to have a conference there, and you start, create these little events for yourself, so you and Robyn can go on vacation, you can buy fine clothes and jewelry and all that other stuff. You don't mess around and find yourself in jail. Misappropriating the funds, Merch James. Listen, if you hold me down with the merch ideas. Cody is misappropriating funds. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through some of the things. Yeah, and I agree with a lot of. I got to figure out how to put the comments onto the. It's not rocket science. I can figure it out. I'm going to figure out how to do it, and I will start putting it up on the screen. There is another one that you say, James, that's not enough. Okay, so he said one thing, where he might want to change the world. Anybody in a situation that's tough may want to change the world. He might have been slip of the tongue. It might have been just something he just, blurted out. You haven't proved your case, James. And I say, welcome to Exhibit B.
Listen, I might be suffering delusions of grandeur. I wanted to go. I wanted to run for office. I wanted to get in control of my destiny. I've been exiled from a state that I think as many people love me as hate me.
He said, I've been exiled from a state where I think as many people love me as hate me. Have you looked at the Sister Wives comment section, jackass? I think there's some people who may not like me. Some of these people would piss on you if you was on fire, dude. Like, you are not in a situation where you can run for office. You're in the exact opposite situation where you would run for office. If you actually had somebody that you were talking to, they would tell you the absolute positively worst thing you can do is to get people's opinions of you. The last thing you want to do is get somebody to get up there and have an opportunity to talk back to you. Unless you really like hearing hurtful things, you probably don't want to do that. This should not be a life goal for you, brother. Because you will be in a situation where somebody is going to look you in the face and tell you the truth. Especially, you're in a situation, it's not like this dude is Michael Landon, Little House on the Prairie, or, old time Cosby Show from the Cosby Show, but, Papa Brady from the Brady Bunch. Like, you are a terrible father according to this show. Like, this show, and I'm not even going to say, like, this is 100%, they catch every detail and all the intricacies of your life, day-to-day life. As presented on this show, Kody Brown is a horrible father. You're not only a horrible father, you're a horrible person. And there's nothing from this show that makes me say, yeah, you know what we need to do? We need more Kody Browns in Washington. Like, what? You must not like children. Like, you're part of the anti-kid coalition. Like, you just don't want kids. Like, you just steal kids from candy from kids. You the one to go out on Halloween just snatching bags. You kicking puppies and drowning kittens. Like, what do you do for fun? You know what I mean? Kody Brown is not, like, on this show, Kody is not a popular person. So the fact that he thinks that so many people, he has such a following that he could get people to come out and vote for him in mass. Again, I might have delusions of grandeur. You think? Christine, when they went down to the rally that the Dargers was having. Again, Joe Darger, when they were having that rally, when this guy was having a rally, that's not where he was speaking. That's a different picture. But when Joe Darger was having that rally, and this is a slight on Kody, and I know Kody was pissed, because I've seen people like Kody, and I know people like Kody. When Joe Darger basically pulled Kody and was having a rally and said, yeah, we're going to have various speakers. And he said, I want Christine to get up and say a few words. That shit killed Kody. That shit killed him. Because even when he was in the audience and he was standing there yelling and saying things and trying to draw attention to himself, I could tell by the way he was doing it, he was trying to get Joe Darger to call him up on stage. To say, you know what, we got a famous guy right here. He has his own TV show. Kody Brown, come on up here. The world famous polygamist in the house. Come up here and do your presentation. Run it for us, Kody. Tell us what you think. And Kody would have stood there for 3 hours trying to suck up all the spotlight and sucking all the air up out the room and killing the whole movement. He might have turned people against the movement, if anything. But Joe Darger, in his brilliance, looked at the situation and said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call the person up who has talent. I'm going to call the person up who has talent. I'm going to call the one up who can actually deliver this speech, make it believable, has a pleasant personality, and is likable, and affable, and is somebody who is sympathetic to the movement. Because you don't need, the one thing that I would even say for a polygamist, if you're trying to do polygamy, swinging, or whatever the case may be, the last thing you want to have is a bunch of guys sitting around talking about it. Men making these decisions. Because women typically are, not even typically, but most cases are the victims of these institutions, so it would help. And maybe I shouldn't even say this because I feel like I'm helping them out. But it would help. Oh, you're not late, Rochelle J. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you. But it would help if, you had these ladies get up and talk about the benefits of polygamy and how wonderful polygamy is. Kind of like how you guys used to run the Sister Wives TV show. Because if you remember early on, especially seasons 1 through 6, maybe 7, that was a majority of what they used to do. The wives were there to shield Cody and take the heat off Cody. Anytime somebody criticized Cody for being a male chauvinist, he would always look over to one of the wives, and the wives would stick up. He's not a male chauvinist because I'm a strong, independent woman. I can do whatever I want. It's my money. I take my money, and I control my own destiny. Cody don't tell me to do nothing. If anything, I just get a benefit by getting rid of this chump-ass man. And that's what they were saying for 8 seasons. And then now in season 18, the truth is coming out. They're being slighted. They're being shortchanged. They're not being treated properly. But if that's what you're trying to do, that's what you would roll these ladies out. So they rolled out Christine. And Christine, to be honest with you, when I watched Christine's speech for what they showed from her talk, Christine did a bang-up job. She is talented. Christine is very talented when it comes to public speaking. She's very amiable. She made a mistake with the mic. She didn't stop and get, oh my goodness, I made a mistake with the mic. Oh, it's all over. Run off the stage crying. She didn't do none of that. She made a joke about it and kept it pushing. She kept the whole thing rolling. And then she was able to put together a speech from the time that he had asked her to do it earlier in the March to the time she got to the stage. She was able to get her thoughts together, get up and do a table topic speech on point and nail it point for point for point for point. Talking about a lot of the things, the concerns and things that they were talking about in the legislature. Cody wouldn't have been able to do that. And that's another reason why I think Cody doesn't like Christine. Because the anger, he tried to pretend yeah, look at my wife, yeah. But he was mad as hell because he was jealous. For once, Cody was jealous of Christine. And I think he's always been jealous of Christine to a point because she is talented. There was the episode of, I saw a clip of it. I didn't watch the show. But there was an episode of American Idol where one girl showed up and she had her sister there and the two of them played guitars. And the one girl was auditioning. The younger sister was auditioning. And the older sister was playing guitar for her. And Katy Perry had looked at the older sister and said, hey, you sing. And she's like, yeah, it was always my dream to do it, but I'm too old and my sister's here. She's like, I tell you what, why don't you sing a song? She sang a song, got the golden damn ticket. And the sister was pissed. The sister was pissed because she didn't get the golden ticket, but the other sister who came with her wound up getting a golden ticket. This is why you don't take your friends on interviews. That's and you know who Johnny Depp is? That's how Johnny Depp got his first job on Nightmare on Elm Street. He went with an acting friend. He wasn't even an actor. He went with an acting friend, was sitting in the waiting room with his acting friend who was going into audition. His friend did the audition. The casting director came out with him and said, hey, you, what's your name? And he said, oh, Johnny Depp. He said, are you here for the audition? He said, no. He said, well, come here. Let me... They took his headshot. They had him run through the lines and stuff, and he got his first role. His friend, his name was I don't know his name because he is not famous. So you gotta be careful. But yeah, so Cody was mad about that shit, and he was not happy. And when you look at it, you say, but James, they talk about controlling destiny. He was talking about changing the world. And you have two examples of it. Him asking to run for office and trying to throw his hat in the ring. That maybe it's just a thing. But here's the thing. If you say something 3 times, it's true. Welcome to number 3.
Here's the thing.
And this is the reason I wanted to go to Utah. Let me just say, I wanted to run. I wanted to change the law. If I can't bully the people in the legislature by getting into the legislature, then what can I do?
Hold on a second. Let me blow my nose real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. My dust in there. Every time I'm in there, my office, my nose be running and stuff. They be like, ooh, James got a problem. Ooh, booger sugar. No. But, yeah, my man sitting there talking about he gonna bully the legislature. Good luck with that, brother. Yes, Mitt Romney is a Latter-day Saint person. I don't know if he had anything to do with polygamy though. Yeah, but that was the whole thing with Cody. Like again, he just kept saying like, "I want to run for office. I want to run for office," and it's ironic to me because the craziest part about that whole scene, this was the scene where he was doing a presentation about them selling their houses in Vegas. So when he was talking about he wanted to run for office, guess who was going to be paying for his run? In his election bid with their houses. That's crazy to me. He was going to make these ladies help him pay for his election run in Utah. And then later we find out that Joe Darger, he ran. And again, for those that aren't aware, let me put Joe Darger's picture back up for people who just came in. Like, this is what Joe Darger looked like. And when he was running for mayor, he actually ran for mayor. And he threw his hat in the ring. Joe Darger was like, I'm doing this. And it was like this thing where they were like, all these undercover, people who are living in secret, these people who are struggling, they're going to come out in mass and they're going to vote for me and they're going to put me in the office because they're polygamists too, and we have like the silent majority, and we're going to push forward, and it's going to be amazing, and there's a lot of people who are going to come out and vote. And Joe Darger was hyping himself up that way, thinking that he was going to win easily the mayor race that he was involved with, which is why Cody thought he had this secret majority too, because if Joe Darger has this secret majority, and even though he's down there making the phone calls, he's knocking on doors, he's going out sitting at meetings, he's talking to legislators, he's involved with all these different things, but Joe Darger don't have a TV show that appears every week on TLC. So he thought for sure that if Joe Darger had that popularity, there was no way that I wouldn't have it. If Joe Darger could be mayor, I could be governor. And I'm thinking that's what Cody was thinking. And that's at least the confidence I think Cody was rolling with. And when he was talking to his wives about moving to Utah, which actually is contradictory, imagine that, Cody being contradictory, saying one thing and then doing something else. I know it's foreign to a lot of you guys when I say Cody Brown, you think consistency. But Cody Brown, when he was being contradictory to in this situation, he talked about how passionate he was to move to Utah. And if you notice even from the earlier clips, Robyn's ass was sitting there, yes. We need to move to Utah and bring about the change. Yes. Preach it, Cody. Preach it. That's what Robyn was doing the whole time. and talking about how important it was for her to be in Utah. If the laws were different, I would be in Utah too. Cody, if the laws were changed, we got to change them ourselves. We got to go in there and vote. Oh, I'm going to change the laws, take the power back. I'm going to change the world. Oh, because everybody loves me because I'm Cody Brown. When he was saying that, and Christine was arguing, saying, I don't want to move to Utah because of the laws. Janelle was saying consistently, Janelle was the only one that was consistent. I don't want to move to Utah because of the laws. They say they didn't want me, so I don't want to go to Utah. So Cody was saying, Mary, she would have went wherever Cody went. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? If Cody would have moved into a two-tiered dog shit castle, Mary would have been a neighbor. So, I mean, there's that. And that's not a slight on Mary. She was committed to the relationship. But it was crazy to me that when you go to season 16, the laws have changed. We can move back to Utah. We can go home, as Christine was sitting on Coyote Pass saying. We could sell this property for a profit. Slow with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. They were saying we could sell Coyote Pass for a profit. Go to Utah to a place where it's cheaper, but not only maybe buy buy land, you could probably buy land with a house on it for the same money that they were paying on Coyote Pass. Imagine that. And they could have had the little polygamous compound or whatever. But there were a couple things that I think stopped Cody from doing Utah adventure. One, Joe Darger lost his election and revealed that there wasn't really a market for polygamists for him to just roll in and take over the political spectrum of Utah and eventually to Washington, D.C. in the country. Maybe his ambitions didn't reach that high. I doubt it, but he probably did. But I know he wanted to run in Utah. So it was the realization that he wasn't as popular in Utah as they thought. And then two, if he moved back to Utah, Cody would fall right back into a position where he's no longer an outlier. He's no longer the only polygamist that some of these people will know. He would just be one of many. He would fall into a community. And people like Cody, because they require, and this is one of the dangers in being somebody or around somebody like Cody, especially for the OG3, when you're around somebody like Cody, it requires that you either are isolated and alone, the only one shining, or if there are people around you who can shine just as brightly as you do, or even outshine you, you have to go about the business of dimming their light. And that's why I think that he's so, both him and Robyn are so adamant about dimming Christine's light. Because, like I said, she, like, watching her on that stage, she is very talented. She has a lot of talent. And so, when you look at Robyn, a lot of, like, especially from season 1 on, a lot of Robyn's little personality quirks were mirrored to things that Christine was doing. Like, there's so many things that Christine was doing that all of a sudden Robyn had adopted and started doing. It was creepy in a lot of ways. Especially as much as she pretended that she didn't really get along with Christine or like Christine, or Christine was brutalizing her, mistreating her. For her to try to imitate or mimic Christine as much as she did is weird. Like, it's freaking weird. You know? So, like, you have that. Yeah, Christine has charisma. I agree with Elizabeth. Like, you know, she has... thank you, Angela. M64. But, in sarcasm, full fun. Thank you for holding that down. Yeah, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed and all that good stuff. But that's what I saw. Like, she would emulate a lot of the stuff, like the places she would laugh. She would try to tell a lot of the jokes that she would tell. She even tried to emulate, like, the lighthearted nature of the way Christine perceived a lot of situations. She would try to do that with Mary, but it would come off weird and creepy. And that's part of the reason why I think so many people don't like Robyn, because she doesn't have her own personality. People pick up when you bullshit. Like, you know, they have a natural detector on stuff like that. So when she came in and she started doing like that weird stuff, people are like, I don't know about Robyn. She seems fake. I mean, because even now, like, what do people say? They say that she's fake. She's a manipulator. She can't be trusted. These are all things that fall in line with the idea that if you are trying to imitate somebody else, you are being fake because you're pretending to be somebody else. You're manipulative because you're trying to manipulate the people who are watching the show. Especially they have that feeling of manipulation because you're trying to manipulate them. Because you're trying to tell them that you're somebody. You're trying to tell them that you're somebody that you're not. And I've always said that, like, when you talk in front of a group of people, they can always. I mean, in some cases, maybe if you're really, really good, it may take them a little longer. But for the most part, people start figuring out if you genuine or if you full of shit. Like, there's stuff you say, they be like, he seemed like a nice person. She seemed genuine until she said this. Now I gotta take a second look at your ass. Oh, what picture? It's a creepy picture Robyn made. Oh, you mean that? Oh, yeah, right. Thank you. Are we gonna talk? Let's talk about that. When I say that she imitates Christine, the picture. Thank you for bringing that up. Ames, Ella Ames, she dropping it. But exactly. When rubber meets the road, when you look at that picture that she made when the girls were adopted, the kids were adopted by Cody, and she had a picture of Christine and her kids and Cody, like when the kids were young, and she took that picture to an artist and had basically Photoshop, like now it would be Photoshop. So you think of it like this. If you had, you and your ex have a picture of you and your kids, then your ex's current wife takes the picture that you have with your kids and she photoshopped her and her kids' faces and heads onto your bodies. How crazy would that be? Like, Cody should have unwrapped that gift and be like, oh shit. Hide the bunny rabbits. For those not aware, that's a Fatal Attraction thing. The dude was messing around with this woman, cheating on his wife, met with this crazy lady, and she boiled a family bunny rabbit. So hide your bunny rabbits, because that would have tripped me out. I would have been done on that note. Like, I'd have had to pull up stakes. Oh, hell no. What we not going to do, because I'm all about, like, let's not try to recreate memories or special times that I had with somebody else. Let's create our own special times. It's nothing wrong with us, having our relationship starting now, where these kids are now. Even if you went back to the point where I just met them in the first, like, you're a single person, you're a single dude, you meet a young lady and she has kids. Maybe her kids are like 3 and 5, right? Just for numbers. She has kids that are 3 and 5. You're with them, you're hanging out with them, you take care of them up until the time that they're now 5 and 7. And you've been there every day. If she makes a picture of you when you were younger and when they were 3 and 5, okay. I'm not insulted. That's cool. Or they're 23 now, 23 and 25, and you have a picture of when they were 3 and 5, and you go back and you get to see the young you with the young them, be like, oh, that's cool. But don't erase their father. Don't erase their father. That's disrespectful not only to them, the children, but that's also disrespectful to the father, the natural father, and it's disrespectful to Cody in a crazy way. Like, I don't have to be more than I am. I'm happy with what I am. I'm happy, if these kids are not your natural kids, but you love them anyway, you want to be a part of their life anyway, there's no shame in you saying, like, I fell in love with these kids when they were, I think, what's his name was like 7 through like 10 or 12 or something like that. I fell in love with these kids and they were older. I don't give a damn because as far as I'm concerned, they're my kids and I deal with them. That's cool. But you don't have to pretend that you had them since they were born. That shit is creepy. That's creepy. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that's another example of, Robyn trying to be Christine and usurp Christine. Now, when we talk about the policy of it, because like I said, I won't drag you guys out too long stroke you, because we'll do the after party tonight. So come back for the after party. We're going to talk about the foolishness that we see on the screen with this family after the show is aired. So it'll be probably about 15 minutes because, I got to make sure everything is working just from the production side. So I'll start the live 15 minutes after the show goes off. All right. So we'll do that. But as we talk about it, let's talk about not just the fact that Kody wanted to run for office. Let's also talk about the policies that he was going to prospectively run on. Like, what was going to be his platform? Where were you going to come from? Because it's not enough for you to just say, as much as we like to pretend that elected offices are like popularity contests, in some cases, there's part of that element there. I'm not going to deny that. But hopefully you have a position, a policy position that you're going to run on, a platform that you're going to run on that's going to actually improve people's lives. So when Kody, the only platform that I saw Kody really willing to run on was the entire idea of, I want to improve polygamous, monogamous relationships. Not, I want to figure out how to keep the lights on. I want to figure out how to take care of people's health care. I want to figure out how to do housing. I want to keep costs low. I want to bring businesses into Utah. I want to make sure that the economy is strong. I want to make sure that the government is paying bills. I want to make sure that the government is not wasting money by having like these lavish gifts and people stroking out checks, writing themselves checks to get watches and go on vacation, Kody. He didn't talk about none of that. Instead, the only thing that he was really focused on, and this is probably a weakness in Joe Darger's campaign as well, is that he was just focused on polygamy. And just that one issue, because it doesn't affect a majority of the people, even in the state of Utah, it's not going to be a driver that's going to make people decide to come out and vote for you because they feel so strongly about this issue. Especially in the sense that there are probably a lot of people, including the Latter-day Saints denomination of that same religion, who are adamantly against polygamy. So let's listen to one of Kody's possible political, well, it's not even a possible political speech. One of Kody's political speeches when he was talking about the idea of polygamy. Okay, Umatayo. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Umo. I hope I got that right. Let me know if I got that right. Okay, Phil, Fifi, you got to catch that. I understand. It's kind of late for some folks. The after party is kind of late. If you guys can't make it, I understand because I don't hold it against nobody because some of these hours are crazy and the time zone differences can be nuts. Like, there's a couple people that said that they were up to like 3 o'clock in the morning last time we were doing it and they had to go to work the next day. Hopefully you do well at work. You know what I mean? Not, falling asleep at your desk or driving a forklift in full snore mode, running through platforms and do. Because you won't be the only one having a bad day at work. But yeah, let's take a look at this platform and see what they're talking about.
Why are polygamists still marginalized?
Oops.
Because one segment of polygamy has
I totally messed that up. Why are polygamists still marginalized? And I got Joe Darger's picture running. I'm sure Joe Darger was excited about that too. Because we're talking about you, Joe Darger. All right, let's do it again. Let's try it again. Take 2.
Why are polygamists still marginalized? Because one segment of polygamy has a sexual abuse problem? Well, prosecute the sexual abuse then. Leave me out of it.
And I don't disagree with that. I I think that they should prosecute the shit out of these people who take advantage of these folks. I think they should throw the damn book at them. The hell with it. Keep the book and throw them away, right? I don't disagree with that. But the problem that I have is that in so many instances of this practice, it's not just the fact that they force us to keep it a secret and they don't let us talk about things, and that's why they exist in the secrecy and the darkness. They need to just focus on these folks, not us good people. The problem is that you're standing next to these people. Some of these people who you want us to, the rest of the citizenry and the rest of the community to go after, are the leaders in your damn church, are the leaders in your organization. So it's very difficult for us to discern the difference between them and you when you standing next to them. Separate yourself from them. But then you get into the idea, especially as the way Kody has been trying to push this whole thing, as, we have such strong feelings towards these women because they're the core of what we believe, and they're powerful, and we respect them and love them so much. And we have such strong feelings towards them. But then you listen to them talk. And this is the thing. Like, you give them enough rope and you let them voice their opinions. They start off and the shit sounds real good at first. Because they all talk about how powerful women are and how much they value them and they trust them and they love them and they just respect them, and you disrespecting these women because you're not letting them make choices, etc., etc., etc. The one thing that I've never heard people talk about with regard to this pro-polygamy thing, and I've always said this as a point of fact, the legislature in Utah, as well as around the country, I don't think that inherently, as a community, people give a damn who you lay down with. I know I don't. As long as I got two basic rules, and I'll probably have a bunch more rules, but basically two rules. One, you don't mess with no kids. As long as you old enough to make these decisions, more power to you. Number two, you have to have informed consent. Informed consent. Not just, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. No, you have to know what this entails before you enter into that type of relationship, or at least, if you don't know, at least have the information available to you. In many of these polygamous circumstances, they sit there and talk all that bullshit about, we all equal, we all powerful, and the women are the leaders of the church, and they the ones who decide how to do it. But then, and because you look at the sister wife situation, the sister wife solution, they talk that good shit, and I'm pardon my French, but they talk that good shit all the way to season 15. They was talking that sweet stuff. Oh yeah, these women, they get to make their own decisions. They do what they want. Blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as one of them starts talking about leaving, when Mary was talking about leaving, she thought she was leaving me for a richer, handsomer, better man. And she realized she made a mistake, and now she got to come crawling back, in which case I get to torture her and torment her until the end of days. But I thought she could leave anytime she wanted. I thought she had that freedom. I thought she could do whatever she wanted. What happened? When Christine was talking about leaving, I didn't hear a whole bunch of talk about, she can go when she want to go. If she don't want to be here, I'm not hold her. There ain't no prisons. I'm not forcing nobody to be here. If money's the only thing holding you back, I'm going to give you money and a house and you get your freedom. What happened to that? What I remember is him sitting there saying, yeah, your stuff is my stuff. No, my stuff is my stuff. Anything I have with the other wives, which is a majority of everything he has, everything he had was with somebody else. The house that he bought with Robyn, everybody says that Robyn got this big house. Robyn took out this loan and got this big house. Bullshit. Kody took out that loan and got that big house. That's why Kody was pushing for that house. Because Cody's name is on that big house. That's Cody's house too. That's Cody's property too. That's Cody's house. Right? So Kody wasn't buying that house just for Robyn. He was buying that house for himself. So when he's sitting there saying I don't understand, we need to just prosecute people. they always turn it into a sexual thing. And this is the weird part for me. I don't mind the freak stuff. Everybody's entitled to their own freakdom. Do your thing. Whatever your freak is, whatever your kink, whatever it is, do you. As long as everybody's of the appropriate age and everybody has informed consent and they agree to it, do you. I'm explore, try, do things, do you. That's healthy. But Rochelle J with the $2 super chat, please smash the like, thank you, and share. Yeah, please share share the goodness. Share like a cookie and a cake. But the whole thing is that they're sitting there talking about doing all this stuff and all this freedom and power that these women have. As soon as the women talk about leaving, all of a sudden they discover that they don't have any power. If we really want to talk about a legislative change, instead of them talking about the freaky deaky and what happens between the bed sheets, what they need to start talking about is what happens when these women decide to leave. What happens with these children when these women decide to leave and they no longer want to participate in this marital fantasy that you've constructed for these ladies. The problem that I have, the inherent problem that I have with so much of the polygamy as it's presented, especially on TLC, is that these ladies are being told and convinced that they have power and position in these relationships that they just don't have. You don't have legal power. If the money that Janelle gave to Robyn and Cody is very difficult. Despite what she says, despite what Cody says, when she stands there in front of a judge, it's very difficult for her to establish that she believed that she genuinely and lawfully believed that she had the same rights and powers as a legal wife. When she knew that Cody was married, she knew that she wasn't married to Cody, so therefore it becomes very difficult for her to be able to profess that she had those same powers. And even if by chance she gets the right judge in the right jurisdiction at the right time on the right time of the month, the right day, she gets the right judge who will rule in her favor, 99.9% of the women out there who are a part of these relationships don't have a TV camera crew following them, and they don't have the same record of evidence that Janelle would have walking into that courthouse. So when they go in there and say, yeah, he promised that he would take care of me, you knew he was married, right? He's got a wife to take care of. Why would he take care of you and your kids? The best they could hope for in some situations is for them to get child support. Maybe. Well, no, they get child support. In fairness, you will get child support. But as far as like alimony, palimony, as far as them being able to reach in and take care of their property and get their portion of the estate out, you good luck. Good luck. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, if Cody was able to accomplish the thing that he wanted to accomplish in moving to Arizona, where he went out and bought that single home, if he was able to do that, all their money would have been tied up into that single home. That mega mansion with basically, Cody was going to have the wives build him an impromptu resort. He was going to have them, and here's the weird part about it. As much struggling as he did with Mary about that house in Padawan, the bed and breakfast, Cody was going to have the wives build him a bed and breakfast. Hello. That's what they were building on Coyote Pass. They were building a bed and breakfast. With the one entrance, the one entryway, the 4 separate apartments, that was basically a bed and breakfast. You could rent that out where you could have like families and people come down, visit Flagstaff, which is a popular resort town. They come down, visit Flagstaff. They can rent that a section of that big thing out. Like the what they would call the little apartments. You would have tier pricing because Robyn's house was the biggest. Then you had Mary's house was the smallest, and then the other 2 wives' houses were in between. You could have tier pricing as far as how much you charge. That was a little bed and breakfast. Hello. And that was going to be Cody's business. And then when one of the wives or all the wives left because he basically ignored them, shunned them, told him that he wasn't going to have intimacy with them. He wasn't, they was going to be killing batteries. I'm sorry, that was dirty as hell. It was gonna be battery killers, but when he told them that they was gonna be alone and he forced them out, how would they get their money out of that house? Yeah, they could try to take them to court and try to get money from them that way, but it could become very difficult because of the way that they're buying the house and way the house is divided and the way the property is divided. It could become complicated. The fund is an LLC and everybody does have rights, but only to a certain point. Because it would also depend on what you agree to do with those funds and how you choose to allocate those funds. So if he's buying things from the LLC, because you can get paid, you can create pay schedules out of the LLC. And if he creates pay schedules out of the LLC and he's starting to take loans and making investments in the LLC, again, it would require some kind of tracking, some kind of audit. You would have to get attorneys and accountants involved. It also depends on how creative he was in his accounting. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can hide divert funds and things of that nature. Like, and I don't necessarily trust Cody to do the right thing, and in that type of situation, when you're dealing with business, these kinds of business decisions. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Dawn's Delights Art, the $2 super chat. The family is family fund is an LLC. Well, it was the Cody Brown LLC, but even with the way they were doing the LLC before, like, there is also a history of malfeasance with Cody misappropriating funds and the wives knowing about it and allowing him to do it. So it becomes a little more complicated when you try to go to a court and say, yeah, I let him do it before, but now that he's doing it and I don't like it, I want him to stop and I want to get my money back. It becomes complicated. Like, it's just like when you're talking about like this polygamy stuff and the way that they're trying to do it, the way that the polygamy system is set up right now, it benefits the men 100%. What these guys, including Cody, is arguing about is they want to be able to maintain the same benefits that they have. They just don't want to get in trouble for the misappropriation of funds, the misappropriation of these ladies' time, the fraud and the things that they commit connected to, calling these women their wives or giving them official titles when they're unofficial. They want all the benefits, but they don't want any of the drawbacks. Because if they wanted the whole run, they wanted these women to be considered their wives, 100% legitimate wives, they would start to try to figure out and draft legislation which gives these ladies the same rights as any other wife in a monogamous, they always like to cite monogamy, they would give them the same rights that a monogamous wife would have. So if you're married, like for instance, the OG3, they were married to Cody for a number of years. I think unfortunately, Utah is a community property state. So it becomes a little more difficult. But if it was not a community property state, like say a Georgia or somewhere like that, where you get a divorce and you can say it's at fault, like you can cite fault and your valuation can be determined on a different type scale, then the wives could do something to that degree. They would try to propose something of that nature. I don't know if it would pass, but at least to me, it would be a good faith effort for them to actually try to get some kind of legislation to make sure that the people who are considered victims in this situation are being looked after and taken care of. That would offset a lot of the disagreement. In order for them to be able to pass anything, and again, I feel like I'm kind of giving the cheat code a little bit, but in order for them to get anything passed which completely eliminates and more to the point legitimizes polygamy, you have to answer for what happens with these wives and what happens with these kids who are the product of these marriages, and how will they survive and how will they continue. And I think that because they can't answer that question, it becomes very difficult, and nobody is willing to go down the road with them for that. Now, there was a point where before Cody went down with the Dargers, make sure you guys hit that. Seems like my chat is frozen. Is it still running? Looks like everything is cool. Maybe nobody's just typing stuff, hopefully. I might be here talking to myself. Okay, I see some folks hitting some things. Thanks. I don't know what's going on in my chat. My chat is frozen and stuck. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. I was froze out. I didn't know what was happening. Thank you, Kathy Ferran. Appreciate that. But yeah, so when we sit here and start talking about like Kody and the Dargers, before Kody was talking about going down to see the Dargers, he had kind of had like a little preview that he was going to go down and try to work with the Dargers, because he had heard some grumblings about how Joe Darger was putting things together. He was organizing stuff, and they were going to move forward. And then back in 2016, they had the women's rally, right? Right, wrong, whatever. Mary was invited to go to the women's rally by her then, by Leon, her then daughter, Mariah, when she was Mariah, or they were Mariah at the time, not to misgender, no disrespect there, but just so everybody's on the same page, know who we talking about. And when Mary said, I'm going to go down, we're going to do the Million Woman March, and I'm going to support my daughter, Kody disagreed with it vehemently. He said, no, you're going to take away from the power of everything I'm trying to do. And this is where I say you have to start listening to the second part of what somebody says. Not just the healthy part where they sit there and talk about, oh, women are independent, they smart, they intelligent, they strong, they fierce, they all this, that, and a bag of chips. And then they turn around and in the next sentence, they reveal that they don't think women is shit. And that's where I think Kody is. And I'm going to demonstrate it because, like I said, you know James, I bring them receipts. So I'm gonna demonstrate what I'm gonna say about that in a second. So when Kody was talking about it, this is what he had to say. Like, this is the first part, like some of the dribs and drabs of what he had to say. Let's take a listen.
Women and the gay and lesbian community in our country have their rights. And that's a wonderful thing. But polygamists do not have their rights.
I did not understand that this is something about rights. It's just something about, hey, we're here.
Reminding
Don't forget
everybody in America,
about us.
a million women saying, look, hey, we're here. I mean, that's what I took it to be.
That's
Saying we're here? Like we're here, like remember us. Like to the legislators, remember us, we count. And I think that's important. I don't see how they're mutually exclusive.
Half of the legislature is women.
Half of the legislature is women. You know why he said that? Because Kody don't give a shit about no women. Like, that's why he said it. First of all, in Utah, half the legislation was nowhere near female. They were like, I think in 2016, I did some research on it. They were like, the state legislature was at like 20% female. 20%. Like, that's not half. That's not even close to half. But I guess these are the foundational, fundamental math skills that Queen G in the house. What's up? What's up? Rochelle J coming through. Holla at your boy. Also, okay, I see you, Sweet Tea. But Lizzie B, of course, Kathy Ferran. We got the whole crew up in this mother. We about to have a party. About to break it out. But anywho, when they started talking about that, they said, "Oh, we got all these ladies up in here. And they getting they stuck." First of all, it's not the Struggle Olympics. Just because you're saying that this person isn't struggling as much as you struggling doesn't mean that they're not struggling. Doesn't mean that they're not having a hard way to go. LGBTQ plus people could get married, and it's not illegal for them to get married, and I can't get married. Yeah, but it's also illegal for you to fire. It's legal for you to fire them off their jobs, kick them out of their housing. It's legal. You can do that in some places. I think Utah is one of them places. So, no, there's certain things that they didn't have the right to do, and they just got that right. So, I mean, we could go through the whole politics of it, which I'm not really interested in doing, but at the same time, you don't have to drag somebody else into your conversation or your discussion. If you don't want your wives going, because you think that somehow it's going to hurt your chances to have your place in a rally recognized, then you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? Is it you that the people at the rally want to see, or is it your wives? And my contention is that he wanted to use his wives to stand on their shoulders so that he could pull himself up as a person who could possibly be elected, possibly hold office, and possibly be a thought leader in this particular group. He was going to stand on his wife's shoulders, but at the same time, he's saying how important that these women aren't, and saying that the movement and the concerns that they have aren't valid. In the same breath, he's saying, I need you to join my team so I can stand on your shoulders so I can be tall. So in the same conversation, when he tells you that you ain't shit, he's telling you that I need your help. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And that's really where I am with him. Like, because as much as he says that, like, oh, it's so, you guys, half the legislature, because it's like a little cut that he dropped on them. Oh, half the legislature is women, and they don't have no problems. They getting all their stuff met. And we're the only ones who are really suffering. You think? You think that that's the case? And it's, and again, this is where a lot of that, like that manosphere, disdain for women kind of comes in. That's where, like I said, there were peaks and parts of previous episodes where I saw him like, oh, okay, I see where Cody's at now. I see what he's talking about. Because he would drop little hints. Like, because for most of these Nimrods, everything comes down to the club. If they go to a club and they're standing outside with 100 people, and of those 100 people, maybe 75 of them are female, even 20 of them are men, and the other 80 are female. They only notice when that hyper attractive woman gets out of her car and walks past the bouncers, walk past the line, and goes right into the club. And from that point forward, every woman in the world has the ability to do that. But they don't see the guy who parks the car, the Lamborghini or the Rolls Royce or the Maybach, and they get out of their car, walk to the front door, past the line, past the bouncers, and walk into the club. They don't notice that. Or if they do notice that, oh, they only get to do that because they rich. He had to accomplish something in order for him to do it. She just had to be pretty. And blah, blah, blah. These women didn't have to accomplish nothing. They're not really suffering because it's only us men suffering. And this is in the long line of Cody talking about how bad the guys have it with regard to polygamy. Oh, men have it so hard in polygamy. We're the only ones. Like, he talked about when there was an episode after he and Robyn got married where he was sitting there talking about how much he suffered. Men in polygamy suffered because they don't get to experience the intimacy with their wives. They don't get to have these special moments with their wives because they have to share that day with these other women and these other people, and they can't really have that intimate moment with their wives, so they suffer so much and how put upon they are. They talk about like when he talked about the sacred loneliness. When I leave them at home when they by themselves, at least they get a break. I gotta go off to these other women. I gotta entertain everybody. Like, he treated like he a clown or something. Like he just in there dancing, you know, taking the hat off. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Like, you know what I mean? That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. Half the time, if you keep track of what was going on, half the time all that would happen is he would go over to Janelle, Christine, or Mary's house, and he would sit on the couch, read a book, or be online working, and he would just go to bed. The only person he was entertaining was Robyn. The only work he was doing was over there at Robyn's house, because Robyn demanded that he be present when he come over to the house, that he participate with the kids. And she even had an interview early on where she said that, you know, I told him that you have 18 kids or 13 kids at the time, and I want to make sure that my kids don't go ignored. So when you come over here, I want you 100% present. And Cody agreed to it. And then that was at that point, Christine started to complain and say, well, I don't understand how she came into the family, and basically she's taking you away and you won't be with us, and none of this stuff is happening. And you're driving 5 hours away from her while she's pregnant with a child in a high-risk pregnancy. He's driving 5 hours away to go spend time with Robyn and take care of her and her kids. But then when he comes home for Christine, Christine has her 10-year-old watching her kids while she's pregnant, well, because she had to go out to work that night. She had to go to work overnight. And then when she woke up in the morning, or when she got home in the morning, she had to take care of the other kids in the house so that the other parents could go to work. Robyn didn't have to take care of nobody else's kids. But Kody suffered so much, and it was so hard for him. And that's where that whole, that's the root and the foundation of that whole idea that these women have their own say and they have more power than I do. He can't recognize the fact that, even in the example that you set, they only have 20% of the house. They make up more than half the population. And in Utah, I have to do the numbers. I should look it up. In Utah, I'm sure the population might even be higher for the females because you guys, the way you guys do your stuff out there. So women make up a majority of the population, but they have a ultra minority in representation, and you somehow think that that's equal and the same? Kody. Like I said, these are the math skills that led to the prosperity of the Brown family and their financial investments. Because Kody can't count. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was how Kody listens to the wives. And I'm going to try to hold this down a little bit because got the after party later. Not a clown car from Fifi. Try to hold this down. But when you look at it, it's like, as much as Kody tries to profess that he's doing this for ladies, for the women, for polygamists, he's doing this for the men in polygamy. There's a very big difference. He's not doing this for the polygamous family. He's doing this as a representative of the male component of polygamous families. And a true example of that actually could be seen with how he was talking to Mary. Because there was one point where Mary, like I said, Mary came to him and said, look, my daughter invited me down to do this march or this protest or whatever. She hasn't been talking to me, especially after the catfish stuff. Their relationship was always kind of dicey. At least it came off to me. There was always a little strained. But after the catfish incident, where Mary was catfished and she had the whole affair, and she said it wasn't an affair, but it was an affair. She had her whole affair. Not rightly, wrongly, whatever. I'm not even making a judgment call on it. It just is what it is. But when that happened, her relationship with Leon became very tenuous and became very stressed. So they invited Mary out to a day. Mary was going to go to the day. She brought it to the family. And even in the last clip where I showed, you listen to Robyn. Really? What are the women doing? She's on Kody's side. She's reinforcing what Kody has to say. The ironic part about it is she's sitting there pretending like, oh, this march is going to take away from the mission of the Darger march and the Darger rally in Utah for polygamy. But guess who didn't go to the Darger rally in polygamy? Guess who the only wife who didn't go to the Darger rally in polygamy was? Robyn. This is why nobody like you, ass Robyn. If you ever see this is why nobody like you. Because you so about it when it came to support what Kody wants to do, but your execution on pretending as though you have that support or giving that support isn't there. You're all about Kody being right as far as not supporting the women's march in D.C. because it takes away from the march the Dargers were hosting in Utah, but you don't want to participate in the Darger rally in Utah. It wasn't worth it to you. But it was so important to Kody. This is why I don't think Robyn is tied into the family as she likes to say she is. Because she's more than willing to let the other wives go to Utah and possibly be arrested or whatever she thought was going to happen, or just the inconvenience of it. But she didn't want to go. She didn't go down with ride down with them to sit in the hotel. Oh, I'll watch the kids and stay safe here. But here's the other clip. Listen to how Kody talks to or seeks guidance or has a conversation with his wife, and the power dynamic that's involved with this conversation.
I'm concerned that it's a conflict only on that basis.
I want to be able to let Mary speak.
All right, I'm just.
You do not.
I haven't explained my concern yet.
I understand. Mary hasn't
So my
explained her point
concern
of view
is
either.
unclear, and my concern is
See, and I'll get into his concern in a minute. But it's the idea that Kody is saying to Mary, oh, here's what I think. Here's what I believe. This is why this is important to me. This is why men suffer so much. This is why you have to pay attention to what I'm saying. And in Mary, in presenting the idea of her going to this rally and why it was important for her to go and why she feels like she should go, and she was trying to explain it to Kody at the insistence of Christine, which again is part of the reason why Kody can't stand Christine's ass. Because ironically, where was, and here's a question, where was Mary's homegirl Robyn at? Why wasn't Robyn sitting there telling Kody to shut up and let Mary do her talking? Let Mary speak her speech, and then you can go. Let's hear what she has to say. Go ahead, friend. Go ahead, friend. Tell him, friend. What happened to that? The push comes down and shove. One of the things that bothers me the most, and we'll probably wind up talking about it tonight in the after party, based on the episode. But one of the things that bothers me the most about Mary and Robyn's relationship is that Mary is ultra committed to Robyn, and Robyn has habitually thrown this chick under the bus. Every chance she get, she throw her ass right under the bus. You ought to call her Trailways. She the Greyhound gangster. Because every time you turn around, Mary's ass is right under the bus. And it's at a point now where Robyn doesn't even do it for benefit. Like, it doesn't even benefit her to throw Mary's ass under the bus. She just Greyhound gangster. Bow! Practice. Practice. Mission accomplished. You gotta call Mary speed bump. Because she throw her ass clean under the bus every time. But Christine was the one who was sitting there saying, let Mary talk. Let Mary explain it to you. She hasn't given you her perspective. She hasn't told you what her concerns was. She hasn't told you why she wants to do it. Kody basically said, I don't care. I don't care why Mary wants to do it. I don't care what she thinks. And again, when you start talking about you want to run for office, this is the type of behavior that I would look at. You don't care about what your wife thinks. And this is a woman who helped you become the man that you are. So I don't think that you're going to give a damn what I think. You're not going to give a damn what I think. You're screwing her. You're not screwing me. But you probably will end up screwing me if I put you in office. You know what I mean? So no, this isn't why. This is part of the reason why I would never vote for somebody like Kody. Because if you can't take care of your business at home and you show no compassion or loyalty to the people whom you should show the most loyal and compassion to, the empathy, sympathy, compassion to, you can't show them loyalty. As much as he throws around the word loyalty, I don't think he knows what it means. Again, I think to him, loyalty means obey me. But for me, loyalty, you guys look out for each other, you protect one another, you safeguard one another, you secure one another's positions, you make sure that the other person is okay. That loyalty, you can't show this woman who you've been with the longest, out of everybody in the room, you can't even give her the dignity of a response or 5 minutes to make her case and her comment and to get her perspective and her opinion, even if you disagree with it. Then there's no way in the world you could represent me. Because there might be a lot of things that I disagree with you on. And if I come into a meeting or a session and I want to talk to you about it, I fully expect you to listen to what I have to say. Especially if you're a government, you're a civil servant. Politicians like to pretend it is a big hoity-toity deal. But your ass is a civil servant. You're here to serve the people, and I'm the people. So if I come there and I want to talk to you about something, I expect you to listen to what I have to say. But when we listen to how he dismisses Mary, again, it's not just the way he dismisses Mary, but this is the mindset that I think he has towards women and how he talks towards women. So the idea that he's so impressed with the strength and independence of women is all bullshit, because when given the opportunity to show and demonstrate that respect that he would have towards these independently strong women, he fails to do so. Rochelle J with the $5 super chat, holding it down. Don't forget, James has a live show after party tonight. That's right. Hopefully you're there, Rochelle J. I hope you're there. Be here, EST. Smash the like on the way into the chat tonight. Please bring prayers, bring wine to share. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I should do like an after party. We have a wino. Maybe not, because that will be lit. It'll be lit, a good time, and lit up, because the senses will be like going crazy. Like, this dude is trash mouth. Queen G in the house. Okay, Auntie's advice. Yeah, I watch her stuff. But yeah, see, that's the whole thing. Like, look, when push him down and shove, if he don't want to take 5 minutes to hear what you gotta say, then it ain't worth it. And at that moment, like, I would even looked at Mary and be like, you gotta start thinking about this dude, where he at, because he's not considering you in the best interest of you. He's not considering you as a partner, because that's your first clue. With a partner, you want to get that. The whole purpose and the whole benefit of having a partner isn't just the sexual aspect of it or the physical intimacy of it. It's the idea that you have somebody that you can bounce your ideas off of, that you can get another perspective from, a perspective that maybe you haven't considered yet. Considered it all. Maybe she's going to say something to make you say, you're right. And if you were truly ambitious, and if you were truly innovative, and if you were truly a thinking man, you would want, and this is James, I'll take off my consideration hat and you put on your political hat, and you say, if you are genuinely a person, a political animal, you would want your wife to be ingrained and pushing a lot of the women independence issues and become a force of her own, in her own right, within that community, so that when she stands there and says, as an independent, strong woman who is a big time member of this women's group, or this pro ladies legislation or pro women's legislation pact group or whatever, when I give my husband the rubber stamp of saying that he is a kind, caring, considerate father who is there 100% and he respects women, it actually means something. It actually means something. Because if you are a person who is if these ladies were seen to be involved with women issues, and they seem to be knowledgeable about things that affect women and obstacles that women face, whether professionally, personally, romantically, etc., 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 and then they turn around and say, with all my knowledge, my wisdom, and my experience, I still give the green light to my husband, Cody, that means a lot. That means more than them just standing there being your cheerleader. But because Cody is insecure and small, he can't bear to have these ladies outshine him. He can't bear to have these ladies coming to their own right. In every instance where they start to expand and start to move out and start to become something that has nothing to do with him, he always tries to pull them back in and pull them under him. And that's part of the problem. So, what is that? But yeah, that's just the crazy part about it. But, I give all this negativity. With the sister wives, there's so much negativity. I like to also share the positives. Let's share some things, something that made me smile when she said it. Because Mary had a retort to what Cody was saying. When he was dropping all his concerns about how this is going to weaken my position and you're going to mess up my ability to become President of the United States, President of Polygamy Propaganda Program Channel. When he was dropping all that, Mary looked him right in the face and put him right where it was, because she said what I was thinking the whole time, and I'm sure many of you were thinking at the same time. Let's listen to what Mary had to say.
My point kind of is that we do the one thing, we really lose the energy on the other.
Well, guess what? I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm supporting my daughter. That's, to me, what this is about. And to be honest with you, I don't care what it is. She's asking me to do something with her, I'm going.
Hell yeah. She asked me to go, I'm going. Especially if you having trouble with them. And then this is where Kody needs a hot tub time machine. Kody, get in the hot tub time machine, go to the Wayback Machine, and remember this. That's the power of you having your life tape. You see what Mary did right there? She didn't give a shit what this... When Leon invited her out, they invited her out to go do something. Guess what she did? She went. I don't care what it is. I'm going to have a relationship with them, and I want to make the most of me having a relationship with my kid. If they want me to go play hopscotch, we're going to go play goddamn hopscotch. I don't care. I don't care what it is. We're going to go do what they want to do. Because especially if I'm having trouble with them or our relationship is strained, they want to spend time with me, I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to do whatever. Right? Kody, as opposed to Kody now, Mr. having trouble with Garrison and Gabe, and he wants to sit there and, well, they have to come to my house. If they don't come over and kiss my left ass cheek and then my right ass cheek in said order, I don't want nothing to do with them. And that's why they can't stand you now. That's why you sit in that house by yourself looking sad on the holidays. Cancel Christmas, jackass, because you don't know how to take time to spend time with your kids to make the most of the experience of you having that time with your kids. And that's why you probably gonna die alone. You know what I mean? As sad as it is. That's why your ass gonna die alone. You're gonna be sitting there in a resting home. You're gonna be in have one of them beds that's like hard as hell, and the blanket gonna be too short with your feet sticking out the bottom of it. And you're gonna be wrapped up looking like a jackass. And that's why. So you have to make sure that, you know, you take these opportunities that if your child is inviting you to do something, you know what I mean, especially when you start off, let's be honest, like my kids are a little older now. When you start off, when your kids are young, I get where Kody is at now with his younger kids, Solomon and Ari. I get it. Because when your kids are young, you're freaking Superman. You're the strongest, the fastest, the most handsomest. You know, you the funniest. You everything to your kids when they little. But as they start to get older, they start to experience life more, and they, you know, especially by the time they hit their teen years, you know, then it's no longer cool to idolize your parents. Like you every now and again, you still get some kids that do it, but like it's not the same. Like it's not a situation where you can do no wrong power, and that's what Kody is with these little ones. But because he's so insecure and so weak, he requires that level of attention. He's not strong enough to be able to stand on his own personality and say, I'm willing to stand here vulnerable because I'm going to be me. But I think that my character and my personality is strong enough that when you see me, even as my child, that you'll want to spend that time with me. Like, I don't think he's made that connection yet. And I don't think he believes in himself enough. And that's what the weird part about it. Because like I said earlier, he has such a strong ego, you know, because I'm a polygamist. It's all about the ego, baby. Sound like an old dummy pimp. That's right, baby. Baby. Suki, who the hell are you talking to? That's completely inappropriate. Suki's married too, so for you to be calling her baby, like her husband show up, then you have an issue. But in any regard, because Kody then doesn't have that true confidence, that true belief in himself, I think that he requires the advantage. So when I have the kids over to the house to meet with them, they have to come over to my house where I have the advantage. They have to come over to my domain, to my place, so that I can feel superior in some way. When you have, I used to tell my kids that when you have a table full of chairs, a room full of chairs, and the king walks in, how do you know which one is the throne? Especially if all the chairs look exactly alike. You know which one is the throne because the king is sitting in the throne. Anywhere the king sits, that's the throne. He doesn't bring his power and his authority into the room and is given that authority and that power by the adornments, the crown, the furniture, the throne, or the clothing, the garb that he wears. His authority is inherent to him. So any chair he sits on automatically becomes the throne. Any hat he wears becomes his crown. If you're that confident in who you are and what you're about, then you carry that same power and that same energy. Kody requires the gimmicks of being a leader in order for him to be a leader, because he's playing a leader. He's not actually a leader. He's not actually confident. He's not actually the man of his house, because he's not doing this thing. Sarcasm for fun. $1.99 super chat. They also have to kiss the horse. The horse has rings. Yeah, they have to kiss his ring. They have to kiss his ass, and they have to kiss his rings, and they have to go over there and kiss Robyn's ass on top of it, which makes it even worse. Yes, after you finish kissing the holy royal ass and behind, you must go over and kiss Robyn's royal ass and behind. I'm like, I'll wait in the car. Barry Nisha with the $4.99 super chat. Did you discuss Janelle preying on Mary's boyfriend? Oh no, I didn't see that. Oh. Janelle trying to scoop him. I hear that. I gotta check that out. I trying to scoop him. Little trouble in the homestead. Janelle like, don't bring your man around me unless you trying to get your man took. Oh shoot, that's confidence right there. You know, it's funny too, because Christine, when she came out of the relationship, was like, well, I don't know if I can kiss and stuff. I don't know if I'm good at it. Janelle like, you better leave your man at home. Unless you tired of dealing with him, you better leave his ass home. I should have laughed. That's terrible. Don't take other people's people. Funny, but don't do that. Don't do that. Sure, I'm gonna show him a little leg and I'm gonna take it back. That's what's up. But yeah. So, and that's the whole trick of the trade. So we had Mary drop her bomb, and like I said, did you see Kody's face when she started talking? Kody, frankly, I don't care. Huh? You know what I mean? My man had that face like he didn't understand what she was talking about. You know? He's like, well, my concern is that you guys aren't going to be able to do the thing, and it's not going to be as valuable. And all of a sudden, Mary was like, Kody, I don't give a damn. I'm going to go spend time with my kid. Good for you, Mary. Good for you. Again, like, Mary has these glimpses where I'm actually liking and digging Mary, because she has these moments where she puts forward the presence that she actually gives a shit about, you know, something other than Kody, and bend it over backwards for Kody, you know. So I dig that. I do dig that. Oh, so we have this next instance, and this is actually something that occurred at the rally. Again, it's in line with how Kody sees women and how he deals with women, how he respects women, because it's not just the issue of him sitting there on the couch saying, I respect women because I have multiple wives, and of course I respect women. I have to have a certain relationship with women because I deal with them all the time. No, you don't. You don't have to have a strong relationship because you deal with women. If you have them in a bad situation and they've been brainwashed to think that this situation is normal, or they've been tricked, fooled, manipulated, or coerced, or pressured, or they just have the power of normalization through powers of association with the people they associate with, tell them that this is normal and this is the way relationships should work, then the fact that you're able to conduct these relationships and fool them within these relationships is not an accredit to you, but merely an accreditation to the social dynamic for which they were brought up in. So they were raised to believe that this is the way you should carry these relationships out. Janelle fell into to be honest with you, Janelle's mind probably worked against her to some degree in this induction into this type of relationship, because she is so logical. They started hitting her with all the logical reasons as to why this relationship works and why it's a good idea. And she kind of, I can see that. And yeah, if everything is done properly, I can see that working. And then you find yourself in a bad situation. And I think that's where Janelle was. But it's how he deals. My whole point is how, like, when you talk about red flags, these are some of those red flags that I would be talking about. I'm just merely pointing them out and I'm sure you guys have probably already seen them. Maybe I'm rehashing stuff that you guys have already seen, noticed, and talked about. But this is some of the red flags that I noticed when I saw these episodes when I was doing the retrospective over the summer. And I was like, wow, this dude has zero respect for these women. He has zero respect for these women. Like, he doesn't listen to these people. Like, to me, if I had 4 wives, their opinions would be so crazy and valuable. Like, the whole purpose of you having a partner is so that you can get that perspective. They can see things that you don't see. So they give you ideas and perspectives and ideas and insights on things that you might not even be aware of. They could tell you about problems that you didn't even know was a problem. They're giving you solutions for shit that you didn't even know was a problem. What? Oh my goodness. What are we going to do about that? You already did it? You know what I mean? And if you have 4 of them, well, I guess really, you got 3 of them and a trophy wife? Sorry, Robyn. Had to do it. I had to play you dirty. But but you have 3 wives who are giving you that information, giving you that access, giving you that perspective, and you're ignoring it, and your opinion is the only opinion that matters. You even saw this when he was talking to the Mormonism Live guys, and he was having that whole conversation with them, and they would ask him questions, and he would go off on some random ass tangent that had nothing to do with the question that they asked, and he would never come back and specifically answer their questions. Because he didn't care what they thought. He didn't care what the conversation was. He was only concerned about what it was he had to say. And that's what makes him weak. Because if your position is strong, you're not afraid of other people disagreeing with what you say. You know what I mean? You can stand there and say what you got to say. And if other people disagree with it, then you don't know how strong your opinion is or your perspective is until you butt it up against somebody who disagrees with it. Then you test it out, you try it out, and if your opinion holds, then it was valid and valuable. If it doesn't hold under scrutiny and challenge, then you have to rework and readjust and readdress your opinion. Cody doesn't want to hear what these ladies have to say because, to be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, Cody is talking shit. And he has no idea what he's talking about. And he's just giving his perspective, and he tries to shut them down because if they are able to start to voice their opinions and their perspectives, they'll make him look dumb because in most cases, especially with the 3 of them, they tend to outshine him as far as the logic is concerned. So when he's sitting there trying to come up with like his little foolish reasons and it don't make sense, when they start to drop facts on him, then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Cody, you don't know what you're talking about. And he doesn't want to feel that way, so he just shuts him down. Here's another example of Cody not only shutting his wives down, but shutting some other ladies down. This occurred when they were doing that rally on the steps in Utah for the pro-polygamy rally that Joe Darger was having. Some of the protesters, or I won't even call them protesters, some of the victims of the very system that Cody and the Dargers were trying to protect and push forward and make legitimate were standing there protesting this issue. And this is what Cody's perspective was. Let's take a listen.
When we first got here and those women were here, I felt like angry that they were there. It's like, why don't you guys shut up and sit down? Joe said, don't deny their suffering. It is unfair to do that. If you deny their suffering, then you're as bad as the abuser. It was important that he did that. He changed my thinking.
It was important that he did that. He changed my thinking. Your wives can't change their thinking. You live with them. Your wives can't change their thinking. Joe Darger had to change their thinking. Why did Joe Darger change his thinking? Joe Darger didn't change his thinking. Some people might think that he changed his thinking because he was a man. I think Joe Darger changed his opinion because Joe Darger was, at that moment, was in a position of power. Power over Cody. Joe Darger was about to run for office. It seemed like Joe Darger had a way into the political realm of Utah. And Cody was trying to use Joe Darger as a footstool to get into that doorway or crawl through the window of the political realm in Utah. So all of a sudden, Joe Darger said, yeah, man, you shouldn't tell these young ladies who are the victims of this very system that they need to shut up and sit down. You probably shouldn't say that to them. That's probably not a good idea. What's funny to me is that in previous episodes, and this is where I call bullshit on Cody and even like some of the members of the Brown family, because as quickly as they sat there and talked about Warren Jeffs, because that's what they spent the first 3 seasons doing, putting down, well, we're not like Warren Jeffs. Warren Jeffs is so evil. Forget that Warren Jeffs. He need to throw him away and lock him up and throw away the key. And Warren Jeffs is not like us. Remember they were saying that? And that was a big mantra that they were running, how evil Warren Jeffs was, how they weren't like Warren Jeffs. Warren Jeffs people make up a small part of the community, and we need to start listening to the victims of the situation, and they need to go. Even Cody with that previous clip I played. You know what I mean? Where he was sitting there saying that we need to go after the people who commit these crimes. We need to go after them. We need to make sure that we punish the pedophiles and the people who commit these crimes because they're the evil ones. And we got to make sure that they get punished. Punish those people. Remember he was saying that? Well, the victims of those people were the women who were standing on those steps. These people weren't committing crimes against nothing. They were committing crimes against people. And those people were on the steps voicing their opinions. And because they were voicing their opinions and it was something that was contradictory to something that you wanted because it didn't make you feel good, now all of a sudden it's, fuck them, they need to shut up and sit down. Pardon my French. Queen G, James, the out of context thing. We're talking about when Janelle and Kody brought her bed years ago, but all you could see were their muddy feet, were her muddy feet. I remember that. I remember. Thanks for the super chat, $5 super chat. I do remember that. Because I said the same thing. I was like, ooh. Maybe I'll kick y'all feet off to the side, cause unless you go buy them sheets too. I remember that. Oh, man. But my whole point is that if you're going to take a political position, especially if you're going to have a position that you're taking where, look, we're not evil people, and especially if I'm a part of an organization, a group, or whatever, a position that may have impacted people historically, a group of people historically, I want to make sure that it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear that I'm not a part of those people. And not only am I not a part of those people, but I think those people, because those people actually hurt me and make people think that I'm wrong and I'm evil, we need to make sure we punish those people. We got to make sure that those people are not in a position where they can take care of these innocent people any longer. These victims, that we need to protect them. We all need to get together to protect them. They say that, and especially with Cody, he made a point to say that so that it comes off like he cares about these people. Oh yeah, we need to protect the victims and go after them and prosecute them because we care about the victims. But when it came time for you to show your compassion for these victims, you told them to shut up. You told them to shut up and sit down. What's ironic to me is I didn't see any children up there, but he's talking to these women like they kids. How about that? I saw women up there. I saw grown folks. Those were grown folks. And you telling them to shut up and sit down. That's what you shouldn't even say that to children, but that's how you would regard a child or somebody you consider to be less than you. That's not what you would say against a equal citizen. The one thing that made Joe Darger, and this is why, like, of the two of them, I think Joe Darger was a better politician, even though he got his ass kicked. When he ran for office, he got his ass kicked. And I'm not, no shade on him, because running for office is hard. I actually ran for office just last week. Won my election, y'all. But it's a little local jobby. Taking care of my hometown, I had to get involved with some local politics, but because of foolishness that was going on. So I'm actually speaking from I have some frame of reference of what I'm saying. Joe Darger is a better politician than Cody is. Because where Cody was telling them to shut up and sit down, Joe Darger recognized that these are the people who are the victims of what we're trying to do. And so what he did was he called them down from the front doors of the Capitol to down to where the microphone and lectern were set up on the stage, and he invited them to stand with him, because that shows. And I'm not, again, Joe Darger got some shit with him, so I'm not supporting Joe Darger, because I don't know him and I don't know enough about him to support him or oppose him. I just got my suspicions. But he is smart enough to say, I stand with you guys against the evils of polygamy when it's done inappropriately. I can respect that. I think that's the way to do it. I don't know if he's necessarily the one to do it, but it's definitely the way to do it. You know, to show that I stand in solidarity with you. Again, I'm here for righteousness. Now, when I say all this, I'll say this very part of it. I want to hear not just the part where they say they support these people and they're opposed to them being taken advantage of. If I was part of this movement, which I am not, but if I was part of this movement, or the one thing that I would want to hear if I was in a position where I could vote on this, is how can we legislatively protect the women and the children who are become victims in these institutions. And I don't want to just protect the people who are in extreme situations where they're child brides or whatever the case may be, or they get married off or forced into situations. I want to protect everybody. I want to make sure that the people who are coming in to these marriages are coming in with a certain level of protections from day one. When these women marry into, I don't care if they're 25 or 55, when they marry into these families, I want to make sure that they have protections and that they'll be taken care of. That they're not just going to become brood mares or baby factories for these dudes and they're going to get left off. I want to make sure that they're able to be taken care of, that their kids are going to be taken care of. That they're not going to be dropped off financially. And in many cases, when I see some of these polygamous families, we kind of get wrapped up, and I won't say we, I'll say me. I get wrapped up sometimes in the idea of the illusion of what I see on TV, because I don't know any polygamists personally. So I just know from what I read, what I get from interviews, and what I see on television, mostly on a TLC polygamous propaganda programs, where they run out Seeking Sister Wives, Seeking Brother Husbands, this show, Sister Wives, and anything else they have that kind of trip about polygamy or polyamory or polygyny. When I see that, in most cases, these people are doing well financially. So if the relationships don't work out, there are resources for people as they leave these relationships. In many of these relationships, the people aren't doing well financially. Hell, the Brown family wasn't doing well financially prior to the show. And even technically while they were on the show, because of mismanagement of funds. Hello, talk to me. I might do a video on that. But, you know, if they're not doing well financially, then you get screwed when you go to leave. You make a bunch of babies thinking you have all this protection and I'm your husband, I'm the wife, and blah, blah, blah. And then you go to leave and then you walking out with flat pockets. And you got to figure it out. Like, it's not right. So what I would want to hear from a Joe Darger or a Cody Brown, if they were running for office, is what are we going to do to remedy that? I understand you want to be able to sleep with whoever you want to sleep with, which you can do now. You can make babies with whoever you want. You can have as many baby mamas as you want. There's nobody coming to your door locking you up. Okay? Nobody locking up Chad, or this, that, and other. Giga Chad, or whoever got 15 kids out there. Nobody locking them up. 15 kids, 10 baby mamas. Nobody locking up the woman who have, ADD, all different daddies for her kids. Like, nobody doing that. It's not illegal. It just becomes illegal when you pretend that they have protections that they don't have. That's where it comes from. One of the last clips I have, because like I said, I'm going to try to let you guys go so you can get on with your day and do your thing. I just want to make sure that we're, I give you guys enough time to get ready for tonight's after party. So I invite you back. I will be running an after party for those who don't know. 15 minutes after the air date of the premiere of tonight's Sister Wives, I'll be running another live tonight. So that's 2 lives in one day. 2 lives one day. And we're going to have fun on that one too. I probably won't have any receipts because it will take me a little time to clip and cut and, pull out and all that. And I will be starting so late for some people. It'd be ridiculous. It's still late as hell for some folks. And I appreciate you coming in, but it would be like crazy late. So we'll do that tonight. But the last, just to also let you guys know before we get into this last clip, this week I will be updating my YouTube page so that way I'll put down a schedule of when I plan on dropping new videos and also when I plan on doing lives so that everybody kind of knows where it is and you're not getting like the last minute notifications. And hopefully that helps with some schedules and things. And I don't want people to feel like they're missing out if they want to participate. So, we're right there. All right. And so the last one was a clip. I'm not even sure exactly what this is. I know it's relevant, but I forget what it is. Let's take a listen. What Cody is calling for is a unicorn. I want a woman who I have stripped power away from and spent years degrading and telling her that she's nothing, to rise to power like the fiery phoenix and take the legislature by storm, become angry at those who try to deny her oppression and raise up against a sea of trouble, and by opposing end them. Like that, what he's calling for is a white whale. Like there's no person, because you guys spend so much time beating these ladies down. Cody in particular, you're not trying to elevate. The wife you're talking to would probably be a fantastic politician. Christine would be a fantastic politician, but you never instigated or in tune to her or embedded in her the idea that she could do it. You never told her, like, baby, you go out and you start running, you go shake hands, you go to meetings, you get yourself involved. I'll take care of the kids. I want you to rise to power. I want you to get yourself in. You start joining committees. You start doing the things that are necessary so that you can get your name on the ballot. Because you're going to be a great spokesperson for the polygamous lifestyle. Up until this point, I think at this point is around the time that Joe Darger went to Utah, ran in his race, and got his ass handed to him politically. He lost the primary. He didn't even get into the general. He lost the primary by like a lot. Like I think he only pulled down like 2% of the vote or something like that. I think I read. So when Cody realized that there was no path for him, because again, Joe Darger was doing a lot of the legwork. And to his credit, he was the one that was holding the meetings, the rallies. He was the one that was putting together a lot of these, organizing a lot of these events, so on and so forth. So when Joe Darger fell short, Cody starts to realize, well, if Joe Darger fell short, I'm not willing to do none of the work that he was doing. I just wanted to walk in there, put my name on something, and start signing paperwork and writing checks to myself. You got to work. And so when he realized that it was too much work and he was going to have to put work in, then all of a sudden is, I wouldn't mind if one of my wives did it. I wouldn't mind if one of my wives put the work in. They got themselves in a position where they could start doing things, and I could start, coercing them to do the wrong thing. Kind of like when he tried to push Janelle and Christine into getting their real estate licenses, because originally he wanted to get his real estate license. He realized he would have to do a bunch of studying to take some tests, get licensed. He didn't want to do it. So when Janelle started doing it, he thought he was going to become a real estate mogul using Janelle's license to do it. So I'm thinking that he saw that it was going to be a lot of work for him to get elected, so he was going to start using his wives to get themselves elected, so he could basically be the hidden hand, the man behind the throne, where he starts giving them instructions on what to do, how to do it, and what he thinks, and persuade them to do the things he wants them to do. But that didn't come to fruition because they didn't have that push of the desire to do it. And to be honest with you, I didn't think that there was really a path for them to do it. Because the only place that they could really move to try to capitalize on the whole idea of being a polygamist would be in Utah. But as quickly as we found out, like back when they were selling, the first time they had the outing for sister wives, I think it was in St. George. When they went with Robyn and they all went out there to a convention hall and they were going to sell at a craft show. They were trying to peddle the sister wives stuff and people came by and looked. But I think Janelle said they made like $500 or something like that for the weekend, for the entire weekend, which since most of their pieces were going for like $75 to $100, that means they sold a grand total like maybe 5 to 6 or 7 pieces, well under 10 pieces the entire weekend. And most of the reason why they were unable to move those things was because of the LDS church and the presence of the Mormon church, who is vehemently opposed to polygamy. Because as far as they're concerned, they have histories and ties into the whole polygamous thing in America, but they've since tried to separate themselves from it. And part of their separation from polygamy has been to shun and deride anybody who is part of those fundamentalist churches. So they don't play that. So it's really no path. I don't really see a path for an open and out polygamist to run in this area. Because just as they would have people supporting them because they are polygamists, you have people who are part of your faith who don't support your polygamy, and then people who aren't part of your faith who don't support your polygamy. So it becomes very difficult for you to run. Plus, it's a commitment. And I don't see a whole lot of commitment out of Kody. Like, commitment and Kody kind of don't go together for me. You know what I mean? So there's that. Oh, yeah. Queen J, she said, Kody, that hair. That hair scared all political figures. I don't know what he was thinking. Like, I tried different stuff. Like, I brought this back. I cut my own hair, so I get to play around a lot. But it's just a skill I picked up when I was doing some things for one profession I had or have for my job. I get to play around with different looks or whatever. And, what I feel like doing, I do. And sometimes, I get it. Sometimes you like, yeah, I'm going to do this. It's going to be amazing. You do it and you be like, that long hair. And then like, he had because I don't be dick, but, because I got hair. But he has that bald spot and it was rocking heavy. And so he just grew all his hair out. And then, like, it just made those bald spots, that widow's peak, more pronounced on his head. I'm not even criticizing him physically. I'm just saying that, it is what it is. That was not, it didn't compliment him. Like, even the little ringlets, they compliment him better than that crazy dude did. Like, he looks kind of like he looked like a werewolf that got a perm. Like, like, you ain't fooling nobody. Oh, thank you, CJ. I appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes, you putting that out. You try some different stuff and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Sometimes it don't. Kathy, so yeah, I was gonna grow a little afro out, a little mini fro, but I was like, nah, that's too much. Too much. I used to wear my hair like this in college, so I just kind of went back to it. And he said, Lizzie B, I love you defining it as hobbies. Yeah, it was a hobby. It was a hobby business. The Sister Wives Closet was a hobby business because they didn't make any money. And I do want to do an episode where I want to talk about like their finances, dig into their finances a little bit, because I was rewatching some of the was it season 13, like episode 1, where Mary was talking about buying Lizzie's house or whatever, the bed and breakfast. Lizzie's in, and Robyn's sitting there with the attitude like, Yeah, because when I bought Sister Wives Closet, Cody made me be financially responsible. Really? Is that what we doing? We gonna tell that lie? Like, I'm surprised you didn't knock out 3 of your teeth trying to pass that lie. That big, hard, ugly lie. Oh, Cody made you do something. Like, you guys were spending money hand over fist. Janelle would come forward, talk about, I got a business idea, but like, no, let's not do that business idea because we got Sister Wives Closet. Then Cody, for a long time, didn't even want to do Sister Wives Closet until Robyn came forward, was like, yeah, we could probably get $2 million in loan money for Sister Wives Closet. And all of a sudden, Cody start crying and belly aching about how he want to be the CEO. When was I ever in charge of anything? It's ridiculous. It's going to be all this money around and I can't do whatever I want with it. One of my favorite parts is, too, and this is where I say that there is a whole lot of stuff that we could talk about with regard to the finances, because if you listen to what they had to say, Cody said when Mary came forward and was asking for money for loans so she could buy Lizzie's Tavern, or Lizzie's Inn, I keep calling it a tavern. There's no alcohol served there. Not that I know of. But when she was trying to buy Lizzie's Inn, she had asked for the money. Cody said at that time, like, well, remember I took out a loan for my business, the gun business, where we were going to buy a bunch of product and we were going to sell it, and we very well might be able to turn it around and give some of that money back. So if you need, I think at the time she needed a down payment of $80,000. So she needed at least $40,000, half of it, in order to do it. And then she was going to take the other group of money from her, from equity in her house. She tried to pretend like she just sold a bunch of shirts and she got $40,000. But if you were able to get that kind of money, then you never would have had to go to your family and ask for a loan. So you took out a mortgage on your house, second mortgage on your house. I ain't hating, I'm just saying that's what makes sense. But if you listen to what Cody said, Cody was like, yeah, we might be able to give some of that money back. Some of the money. That means that you took out, you'll be able to make a payment, is what he said. We'll be able to make a payment on it. That's $40,000. How much money did you guys take from the family? And if you took that much money, why does Mary, no wonder Mary, like, I thought it was kind of weird that Mary was there begging for the money the way she was and making a demand for the money, not begging, but making a demand for the money the way she was, like she expected to get it, like just because she asked for it. But apparently this is how you guys do it. Like Cody just, yeah, we might be able to make a first payment back. How much money did you take? If a payment is $40,000. A payment? Shit. Are you nuts? Like, you guys gave Cody $40,000? I'm sorry. You guys probably gave him hundreds of thousands of dollars so he could buy something. Like, look, just because you get a bunch of money, and this is the weird part about it, just because you have access to a bunch of money at a given point doesn't mean you know what to do with that money. There is some knowledge and some information that you have to gather in order to be able to successfully navigate the financial world of business. Having stuff and selling stuff just because it'd be interesting for you to do. Hey, I like duck calling. I go out and stand. I'm gonna start a duck calling business. I'm gonna stand on the street corners and just make millions. No, because not everybody is into duck calling, you dumbass. Not everybody's into guns. Even when they go to these gun shows or whatever, it's not guaranteed that you're going to sell. People show up to them things just to see what they like. People show up and they have people that they deal with. You go there, you can get regulated out of business, all kinds of things. So I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think. And that's where I'm at. Because ultimately, to wrap this all up, because like I said, I don't want to run you guys too late. I don't want to long stroke you. We've been on there for almost 3 hours. I don't want to long stroke you. But to wrap it all up, all it comes down to for me is that I don't mind, and I won't say I don't mind. I understand that when Cody has a platform, and that Cody has name recognition. I'm talking about Cody. Cody's not talking about me. So I get that, right? And I understand it is what it is. So Kody has a platform. And using that platform, he has an opportunity where he can do some good. The problem is that sometimes in order for you to do good, you have to be good. And in order for you to serve the needs of the people that you say you want to represent, you have to understand the needs of the people that you say that you want to represent. If he effectively wants to represent polygamists, at least in my mind, you have to be able to bridge the gap between the polygamists and the mainstream folks. People who, not necessarily, monogamous, and you try to say it like it's either us and them, but you have to be able to not only normalize your circumstance and your situation, but you have to make it permissible for people. Because even with the Sister Wives franchise, you could look at the Sister Wives and say that that's a one-off deal. You guys are the exception, not the rule. Even though you sit there and say, no, we're the rule, we're just like everybody else. And now it actually kind of backfires because it turns out your relationships were dog shit. So when you say that your relationship is the rule or normal, it actually has more rippling, lasting effects, because if everybody's polygamous relationship is run like Kody ran Brown family relationships, then I couldn't see myself supporting it in any form or fashion. But if I take the position that every relationship is different, everybody who is involved in these relationships is different, that these relationships could possibly work and be fulfilling and be loving if you have the right individuals present, for me it'd be a stretch for you to be able to do that, but I'm not saying that it's impossible. But if all those things happen and is present, in my perspective, giving you the right to be able to do whatever it is you want to do, I just want to make sure that people are able to do it when they're of the appropriate age and they can make informed consent. They can give that informed consent. They know what they're getting into and they're agreeing to get into it. When you call somebody something, but they're not that thing that they're pretending to be, you know it. Kody knows full well that these other three women are not his wives, because when Christine was talking about leaving and she was talking about dividing the property, he didn't sit there and say, well, she is my wife and she does have a right to take half of my assets. He understood fully she is not my legal wife and there's no way in the world she's going to be able to reach in and take any of my assets or any of the assets I have with the other women. She has no chance of doing that. He understood that. He understood that. He clearly understood that. And when it is illustrated when he got divorced from Mary and he married Robyn. If the marriages, as much as they said it from the beginning, if the marriages weren't important and they were just legal documents and they were just things that people did that didn't mean anything, then my question is, when you married Robyn so that you could adopt the kids, why didn't you divorce Robyn? Because the marriages don't mean anything. You want everybody to be the same. So why didn't you marry Robyn so you could adopt the kids and then divorce Robyn so all your wives are equal again? Or in my case, just looking at it logically and thinking of it like as Kody would say, penciling it out as a businessman. If I was penciling it out as a businessman, the person that I would make the administrator of said estate would have probably been Janelle. Why? Because Janelle, even though she wasn't born into polygamy and she didn't have experience prior to being in this polygamous lifestyle, prior to being in the Brown family, Janelle is probably the one person of all the wives, and this is, again, no slight on any of the wives, but Janelle is the one person in all these situations who is most suited to be in a polygamous relationship. As crazy as that is. Because Janelle was about the family. Janelle was 100%. I'm not saying that the other wives weren't. I'm not saying Christine didn't make sacrifices. But I'm saying that Janelle would go to work and she would turn her check over to the family for the betterment of the family. Janelle would go to work. She would take her 401k, cash out her 401k to pay Robyn's bills off because it was for the betterment of the family so that they could all get the houses on the cul-de-sac. She paid Robyn's bills because she wanted to improve the family. Her kids were going hungry so that she could put Mary in a big house in Vegas. Because Janelle was about the family. So if something were to happen to Kody, because what, you gonna put Robyn in charge? You talking about nobody getting nothing. There'll always be an excuse in her mouth as to why she deserves all the money because of how Christine, Mary, and Janelle made her and her kids feel. We felt like we were being left out. We felt like we've been voted off of the Brown family island. So y'all don't deserve none of Coyote Pass. She's quick to have a reason as to why she shouldn't have to do anything for anybody else. So she will be terrible. Not to mention she probably spend all the money before you got any of it. Before the damn escrow cleared or before the paperwork closed out. And once the money's spent, it's spent. It doesn't matter whether you take it to court or not. So hell no. He's absolutely the worst person to put in charge of it. Mary has her own set of issues. You know, Mary can be a little vindictive. So you want to be careful about giving it to somebody who's going to carry grudges. Especially if it's my fortune, my wealth. If I was an extremely wealthy man, and I'm not even using Kody. I'm saying if I was an extremely wealthy guy, I had 4 wives. I had one wife who was extremely vindictive. Lovely lady. Loyal as hell. But when you piss her off, she will throw you off a building and she will jump off the building and try to choke you on the way to the ground. That vindictive? No, I'm not giving. I'm not putting her in charge of nothing because she's not going to make sure if you cross her, you say the wrong thing at the funeral, you cut off. So no, she's not a good choice. Might be a lovely lady, right? But she's not a good choice. Christine, she's very intelligent. Christine is smart, but Christine has been hurt, and she even though she is selfless in a lot of ways, Christine has been hurt. She's been injured, and she does remember. And she also is holding a bit of a grudge against even Robyn. So Robyn might get cut out of some of that money. Right? And she wasn't around. Robyn, you've already spent your share. I can see that being a conversation. And she wouldn't be half wrong if she said that. Robyn, you've already spent yours. You spent yours while Kody was still here. You know what they say, give them the flowers while they can still smell them. Well, you spent yours while he was here. And your whole story stinks. So, no, you're not getting none of this inheritance. So there's that. But Janelle, oh, baby. Janelle's the one. Because, like I said, she was the one who was taking care of the finances. She was the one making sure all the bills are getting paid. She's the one that's going to make sure that the estate doesn't collapse during the time of probate, while everything is being settled and being hashed out, while bills are being paid, while liabilities are being taken care of so that they can walk away with proceeds from what's left. Janelle would be the person who would administrate that estate the best. So if you were going to marry anybody, marry Janelle. Marry Janelle. Make her the legal wife. And she'll make sure that your estate is distributed properly. She'll also, not even be a jerk about it, but, Janelle also seems to be the one who is, she cites herself as being the one who's most logical. If something were to happen and there has to be a medical decision that has to be made, you might want Janelle making it. Now, if you have Robyn, like, Kody's out there on Coyote Pass, the tree fall on him, pow! He gets, crushed under the tree, and his his feet roll up like the Wicked Witch of the West. And all you got is his little boots out there, right? And he clinging on to life, trying to figure it out. Yeah, Lizzie B says the whole apples and oranges argument. Yeah, you're right. She be sitting there, I got the apple and you looking at my orange. Who cares if my apple is golden? Golden apples. But, Kody out there on that Coyote Pass, a tree fall on his ass. Well, you shuck that, get the shucking on them trees. And you shuck your leg and open your leg up. You don't want Robyn out there making life decisions for you. And she's like, everything's in my name, you say? Yeah, you can go ahead and kick that plug up out the wall. Kody ain't going to make it. I'm fine. Listen to him. He's getting weaker. He gonna live through the night. I'm getting stronger. Give me that pillow. You know what I mean? Because I got spending to do. She going to be shopping on your ass. So no, you don't have her making the decision. You know, Mary, you've been denying her loving for how many years now? So she might be the only one who get to go in there and visit you. Because the wife controls the visitor's log. You know, Janelle, she be the one, like, you know, the whole family got to go see him. Actually, Christine, in that instance, probably make sure your kids get to be in there first. So, like I said, it's a toss-up. But you have to play to their strengths. And you have to make sure that you understand the full, as Cody would say, you have to look at the big picture. You have to understand the big picture. Not just the one you like screwing, but you want to make sure the people that you put in charge of your estate are making good decisions for your estate. And making sure that your kids, all your kids are being taken care of. Not just her kids first, Robyn. Because her kids will get inherit Cody Pass. We got 5 lots. I got 5 kids. Plus, Cody spent the most time with my kids over my house. They really miss him, so they need to be made whole. Janelle, your kids ain't talked to him at all. You was arguing with him and hurt him so much. And she sit there crying, dab eyes until she signed the paper. Sign here. This is what I signed. Okay. And she'd be out. So. Reading between the lines, says she tell him to save Cody's ass at least long enough for the cameras to get there. Call TLC before they call 911. Hello, TLC, you need to get here right away. Cody is crushed up. He ain't got long. I need to go do my makeup. And she be painting them big thick ass eyebrows. And her no tear crying. You know what I mean? She can put on regular makeup. She don't even need that waterproof mascara. She just put on the regular stuff. And maybe tell one of the kids to spritz her face. Spritz my face. Look like I'm crying. Like, no, it just look like you sweating a lot. Look like you cut the tree down. Oh, man. Yeah, Bridget Knott said he looked at his wives like a business. He did. He did. Because he took advantage of them like a business. It was very much a business relationship after a while. Perps. Yeah, because like I say, you just got to make sure that you taking care of the people who take care of you. Show her else said Robyn doesn't have tear ducts. You know what was messed up? What if, and it's dark humor, I apologize. But what if it was a thing where the eyebrows that she painted on did something to her tear duct, so now she can't cry no more? That would be insane. Like, you stop messing with your eyes. Like, she keep painting them thick ass, you know, like, call me brows. Call me caterpillar face. I doubt if Robyn's kids care less about being a part of. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. All those moms said that Robyn's kids probably don't care about being part of the family. I don't think they do. Well, I think they do to the point that Robyn had convinced them when they were younger that they had to be part of the family because it'd be like kind of the cool thing to do and it really helped the kids out and it would get Robyn what she wanted. But as she got what she wanted and she was able to get into the position that she wanted, she didn't want her kids to feel that closeness. So she, at the same time, this is where it gets kind of, dare I say, this is where it gets kind of abusive. Because you tell the kids, like you tell your kids that this family is so important and being part of this family is key and you got to make sure that you treat these people like your brothers and sisters because we have to fit in and everything has to work out. So we all have to be in one family. And then once you get in the family, you start telling the kids that the people who are so important are no longer important and you shouldn't want to be around them anymore because they don't want to be around you. So you go about the business of trying to turn your kids against the kids that you told them that they had to be a part of by telling your kids that these kids don't like them. So that's like, you know what I mean? It's setting them up to knock them down. Like it's crazy as hell. And if that is exactly what, you know, she did, like, I'm not going to say 100% that's what she did. I suspect that's what she did, but I'm not going to say 100% that's what she did. But if that's what she did, like, Robyn, if you're watching this and you ever see this, if that's what you did, you are wrong as hell for doing that. You're wrong as hell for doing that. because you're creating insecurities in your children, and you're also creating points where they don't trust themselves to be able to make decisions as far as who they want to hang out with, who they want to associate with, who they feel that they can love, and who they feel like they can trust. Because you're building in a sense of betrayal into their psyche. So when they start dealing with somebody, the people who are supposed to love them and care for them and look out for them, you're telling them that these people don't give a shit about you and you can't trust them because they don't like you. And even though they're pretending to like you and they're sitting there crying saying that they want to hang out with you and be a part of your situation, they don't really mean it because they don't like you. And this is very akin, like if it was a romantic relationship and it was a guy telling his girlfriend, yeah, you know, your mom, your sister, your brother, you know, your friends, they don't really like you. They hate you. They laughing at you behind your back. They're excluding you from all the things, cool things that they're doing. They're getting together and they're not inviting you. And they're doing all this stuff and they're sharing and exchanging gifts, and maybe they think about you, or maybe they include you, but maybe they don't. They don't really want you involved because they don't even really like you. I'm the only one who likes you. We would all sit here and say that that's crazy abusive. But when it's the mom telling her kids that, all of a sudden it's not as bad. Like for some of us it's terrible, and some of us will call it out. And I've seen that even in like some of the chat, and I've seen that as well as in some of the My Take comments. But you know, societally it's more acceptable. It's not acceptable, but it just seems like on some levels it's not as easily detected as it would be if it was a guy saying that to his girlfriend, or a husband saying that to his wife. But in either way, it's just as dangerous, just as destructive, and you know, it serves really no purpose. It just, if anything, the only purpose it really genuinely serves is to show how insecure you are and how weak you are as an individual, that you have to manipulate somebody else into thinking that other people don't like them or value them, so that they actually hold value to your relationship. That tells me that you don't think that your relationship is valuable. Because if I think that my relationship with somebody is valuable, then it doesn't matter what relationship they have with anybody else. It doesn't matter. You can be friends with who you want to be friends with, because I know that I'm important. My opinion and my perspective in our relationship is important to you, and you hold value to it. And you look for my opinion, I look for your opinion. We have a relationship. So if you're cool with somebody else, this is like that grade school shit where you have one friend telling you that you can't be friends with somebody else because, you know, if you're friends with them, we can't be friends. Wait, what? I'm your only best friend. We got to be best friends together. You can't have two best friends. I can't hang out with two people. Come on, man. This ain't a cartoon. Like, I can hang out with more than two people. You know what I mean? I can have conversations. You can love more than one person. You know, like love should be multiplied, not divided. Oh man. Yeah, Crucial Taunt said it's emotional abuse and it's awful. I agree, it's emotional abuse, but it's, you know, a lot of times they don't call it that. They just call it, oh, she's just unfortunate. She's just misguided. No, she's not misguided, because there is a point where you start out and I don't really know a whole lot about Robyn's history. I have suspicions, but I can't prove anything. A lot of speculation, but I can't prove anything. But even in a situation where Robyn was mistreated when she was a child, that doesn't give you license to mistreat others. I think I said it before in another video I shot, where there's a guy, and I'll close out on this, guys. I don't want to drag it out too long. But there was a gentleman who was writing scripts, and they asked me, he was a famous script writer. He said, what's the difference between a villain and a hero? He said, a villain and a hero are actually very much similar to the same. As you're writing these characters, they're very similar. They have shared origins. In many cases, they're orphans in some kind of way, meaning that they've suffered some kind of loss or some kind of trauma. The only real difference between the hero and the villain is that the hero will go through a trauma, experience that trauma, and he'll say, or she'll say, I want to make sure that nobody else experiences what I've experienced. And so therefore they do things to look out for other people. The villain will say, I went through this, so I want to make sure that the whole world hurts the same way I hurt. Kind of the idea of hurt people. And that makes you villainous. And so as we look at Sister Wives in the form through the lens of hero and villain, Robyn becomes the villain. If she was hurt in the past because she felt like, even in this family, like we take her for her word. They've ignored her and voted her off the Brown family island. And they've talked crap about her and they've excluded her and her kids. Even if that's the case, that does not give you license to turn around and screw your kids up because you got hurt in the past and you just want to hurt other people. It doesn't give you, you don't get a pass for that. It's not okay. Just like it wasn't okay when it happened to you. If Robyn was a child and her father or her stepfather, whoever hurt her in the past, was hurting her, it wasn't okay for them to do it to you, just like it's not okay for you to do it to your kids. And this is to do a full circle. I'm very cyclical that way. Something we had talked about earlier, when you start talking about having kids, part of the work that you have to do in preparation for having kids, because you're never going to be financially set, something we talked about on Friday, on the Friday night 90-day fiance thing, Friday night fiance parties we do on this channel. Something we talked about on Friday, when you are preparing for a child, no matter how much money you think you have, or you think you're going to need to be able to safely, securely do a child, you're probably wrong. No matter where you think you are mentally and emotionally to be able, I'm ready for the children, you're probably wrong. You can't never fully be prepared for something you've never done before. As much as that is a thing, you prepare as much as you can. And even emotionally, you have to prepare yourself to have children. And part of that preparation is you making sure that the negative things that impacted your life, you don't pass on to the next generation or the next, your kids. So things that were done to you, you don't want to pass on to your kids. The bad habits your parents maybe had, you don't want to, become your parents and pass that on to your kids. If your parents neglected you and abused you when you were a kid, you try to work through that so that way you don't pass that curse on to your children. And when we talk about generational curses, part of generational curses or alleviating generational curses that are passed from generation to generation, is the best way I've heard it described is like trying to empty a pool with a teaspoon. You go out and first time you do it, second time you do it, you don't see much difference. But if you work on it daily, every day you go out and you empty a little bit of that pool out every day, you work on yourself every day, then eventually you will get that pool. If the pool's not empty, you can definitely do something, reduce it significantly so that way you're passing on less to your kids, and hopefully they can work on themselves to be able to eliminate a lot of that problem. And that's the whole goal. Ultimately, you want your kids to be better than you. You want to be better than your parents, so on and so forth. And that's part of it. It's just you constantly working on yourself to improve yourself and constantly, inspiring your children to do the same thing. But you can't pass on your pain to your kids and then still call yourself a victim, because you're no longer a victim at that point. You become a perpetrator. That's my take on that. All right. Yeah, we get ready to bounce out Ela Ames. Night all. Got an early morning at work. Good night, good night, good night. Thanks for hanging out. But, yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping in. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. Rochelle J in the house. Queen G in the house. All right. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys go so you can get your Sundays cracking. You can get some things done. But please come back if you can to tonight's after party. Oh, somebody asked earlier, I think it was Crucial Taunt, I think she'd asked whether I stream or I get it from TLC directly. I stream it on Discovery and HBO Max, if that helps. So when I watch it, when it hits there, I'll watch it, review it, write some notes, and then we'll fire up the old live machine and kick that party all proper. But I appreciate you guys coming through. Had a great time with you guys, getting your perspective, your opinions. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out, as well as the subscribe button. If you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know I got to do it. If you're not yet subscribed, what are you doing? It's easy to do. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. It helps the channel out, helps me out, and who doesn't want to help a brother out? So go ahead and give me that HBO special, which stands for Help a Brother Out special, by clicking the subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications, and you will be notified when I upload content just like this, as well as when we go live. So make sure you hit that stuff on the way out. Just scrapping, aka Cat with the $1.99 super chat. Oh yes, this will be available after the live. I always put this stuff up, so I'm not selfish that way. I'm not privatizing and whatever, so people can hear what I say. Eventually, one of the sister wives of Cody's probably gonna hear what I have to say and blast me out on Instagram, and I won't care. It is what it is. I say it what I say. If you disagree with it, we can talk about it, but I'm not going to be mad that I said it. Oh, man. But I'll see you guys later. I'm going to leave the chat open for a little bit so folks can, get their goodbyes in. But thank you guys so much for coming through. Thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, Sunday evening with me. Hopefully I'll see you guys tonight for the after party. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out.